Hello all you hardcore boxing fans out there, how are you doing? Russ here from Poker's Corner. She's not bad. The biggest gobbing sport, I say the things on here but nobody dares say. Right, Terry's take that we're just putting out now, and I'm going to get Rick to put it out. I hope you all enjoy it, but the main thing is I hope that you all watch it and share it, but leave a comment and let me know what you think. Is Terry right? Because Terry's a bit of a know-all at times, isn't he? He likes to get us all at it. But Terry's a know-all. But is he right? I think he just might be. But we're gonna see, aren't we? Okie dokie. Go on, peace out. Go on, pop pop bang.
Whew. Wow. Kind of recording this backwards. So we've already recorded the podcast, call it reunion. I think it's a reunion. Myself, Martin, Andy, Steve Goodwin joined in. You know, we're all quarantined up, so we just thought we'd just jump on a call, you know, resurrect some of the old energy from the old days. It's not quite the same as the full, you know, in-person experience, but wow. Whew, I am legit drained from doing it. So when people say, why did it stop? Now you kind of understand why, because it takes a lot out of us to be, you know, 10 out of 10 in our performance. So what I can say is I hope you enjoy it. I hope this helps your work from home go through smoothly. And if you are working, I really hope this helps you get through the day. We're 3 hours in. I can't even break it up because I don't know where the logical breakpoints are. But I fell off the call a few times. Andy fell off the call a few times. It was so guerrilla. But what we wanted to do was just, number one, wanted to get back together as a three. And number two, you know, we just wanted to help you guys get through the day as well with a podcast that put a smile on your face. So let us know what you think. You know, hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully you get stuck in. Hopefully the audio quality is good. I'm going to do my best to make sure that we get it to the Andy Whyte levels of quality. But look, for now, just enjoy three guys plus Steve Goodwin, you know, reuniting. Thanks very much, guys. Just enjoy.
That should be in a bag.
My nan died a long time ago.
Now listen, I know someone sold you some tea leaves and they told you it was weed, man. Come on.
That's the university days. So, I need to go into my bag. I'm lucky dipping it, right? Because I've got a selection of booze in my bag.
Right, yeah.
So I'm doing a guy's clothes.
God, I really hope that doesn't sound like what I end up hearing it like, which is you just smashed a load of bottles on the floor.
No, we've pulled out a Ruby Rooster, Ruby Ale. Right, let's go with that. We'll start there.
Someone sat in an office and said, let's call this Ruby Rooster. Why?
I don't know, mate. Ask Lidl. You can get in there.
But made mine buy it, so obviously it wasn't a terrible marketing decision.
Right, Andy, you know we're both relying on you to keep this like to some kind of structure. You know that, don't you?
I mean, yeah, of sorts. That's about the closest thing to a use that I have on here. So, how are you two coping whilst you're locked down?
Mate, penitentiary rules right now.
Oh, tell you what, Martin, how are you coping? Probably the most sensible thing to do.
I think I started all this with a bit of a laissez-faire attitude of let's just carry on. And then very, very quickly and swiftly, it's like, no, you can't really do that. You're not allowed. Social norms and what have you. But I played badminton last night, and I'm playing again tomorrow. And then they're shutting badminton centre, so I'm not playing at all after that. But yeah, it's weird, isn't it? It's a really weird time that it's like there's something around the corner, but no one really knows what it is.
A big old dose of Corona.
Yeah, yeah.
Terry?
So things I've learnt, like Pornhub are really slow on updating whatever it is. Like, you know what? If you've just got one clearly defined lane on Pornhub, yeah, and you're just hitting most recent, it's a really disheartening experience. So
that's what humanity's learned. That's what we've learned.
So you end up, so you know what you do? You end up just going on to like the Russian sites, hoping that they don't have the same copyright protection processes. And so you're like, I'm hunting for shit in Russian now. And you're just hoping that they got something fresh. It's bad, man. Like, I feel, it's like being a crackhead at pornography. It's not a good look. But I can't be the only one.
You're only on day 2 and you completed the UK.
Because you know it does that thing, right?
Absolute thing.
You know on Pornhub it does that thing, it goes recommended for you. Mate, I had to reset my cookies. Like, it got so toxic, I had to reset my cookies.
Have you tried VPNing it to Italy?
But it's the same shit, just in a different language.
No, because Italy, they've made Pornhub like Plus or Pro or whatever it is, the subscription version. They've made it for free for all of Italy while they're on lockdown.
Listen, they had they had that on Valentine's Day.
So yeah, they've made it free for everybody while the country's on lockdown. So if you can VPN into Italy, then you can get free premium Pornhub.
We're playing dangerous games here, Martin. I mean,
you just said that you've gone into Russian sites. There's no work.
Or you continue playing badminton until everyone's infected. We go into lockdown. Now I see why you're doing it. Now I see. That was your laissez-faire attitude all along, because ultimately you knew what was at stake.
I'll catch you in at proper lockdown time. You got to do the hard work.
Still makes me chuckle every now and again. It pops into my head that I can't even remember in what context it was. It doesn't really matter. But it was someone's comment to something on Twitter that you relayed to me, which was, "I'll be more fucked than a stepmom on Pornhub."
Terry, has your biggest hardship been, running out of porn?
Listen, I can't listen. There are people listening to this, right? Then there are people out there right now who have just worn their skin off the shaft. Let's just tell the truth.
Oh.
It's just bare flesh with just flies and maggots and shit, and it's just like one more. You're just there trying to squeeze one more out.
One more.
Is this why there's a lack of toilet roll around the country? Just wiping up sperm.
Mate, I'm on 39 rolls.
You just got one absolutely rock hard sock that you just use. Like
Terry's got 39 rolls. He had 70 on Monday.
Absolutely minging.
How long have we not had a podcast for? And then this is what we started on.
Within 8 minutes, probably about half of those 8 minutes have been talking about some way about Terry wanking, which is exactly about how good the quality of content that was we used to put out in the first place. So.
But wait, but let's talk about the supermarkets, because I wrote this on Facebook earlier. This is the first time we've actually found out what people like to eat, right? Because when you look at the shortages, right, all that was left in the meat section, tripe. All that was left in the gluten-free section, everything. All that was left in the vegan section, everything. Which lets us know that, maybe people can tolerate gluten in a way that they didn't think they could. Power of positive thinking.
What was it? All the pizza gone except for Hawaiian.
No one's touching that, are they?
Yeah, I mean, there's There's emergencies and then there's emergencies.
I'd probably eat one of my pets before I went down that route.
But you can pull the pineapple off. No, you can't. It's polluted forever.
Well, on the subject of supermarkets, it's probably a very poignant opportunity to touch on, if you're going out mass buying, what are you allowed to take as a snack?
Oh, okay. So, I mean, so are we suspending the whole £100 limit?
Yeah, we're in different times now. We're in a new world. And where we previously had the rule of £100 equals something from, the bakery section, I think we need to reassess what is that limit now. Because although people's shopping spend might be going up, their desire is also going up. And I think all these nice... Like, if you work for the NHS, you should only have to spend a tenner to take a sausage roll.
Okay, that's interesting. I wonder if you can even apply the logic that there's a lot of people that are rushing in, buying stuff, rushing out, so they're just like pumping money into the supermarket like they would never do before. Like, and they're not even like testing out grapes or anything. So en masse, the supermarket's making a lot more. So per person, you could bring that £100 limit right down.
Agree, and you're probably doing it more often as well. So if you're going in spending 15 quid, you might be doing that every day. But cumulatively, that cost is still the same.
Do you know what's going to happen? That once we finally tackle coronavirus, there's going to be a nationwide fucking epidemic of scurvy because all people are eating is pot noodles and tinned spaghetti from when they're stocking up on all the dry food.
And 3 sausage rolls from the bakery. But
here's my question, right? Like, everyone's sort of planning for the apocalypse and not leaving their house for the next 6 months. But, mate, there's condoms top to bottom. Like, no one seems to have gone ham on the condoms. Like, why?
I've had the snip, that's why.
I'm going to say, I think you know why, Terry, to be fair. Because there's no way you can get a condom on a skin that raw. You're not shagging, we know what you're doing.
Like, just call it a skin graft.
This will allow me to go on. It's like, basically, they're not condoms anymore. They're just synthetic fucking skin for the worn out Pornhub generation.
At some point, they're going to, people are now going to expect us to touch on something boxing related.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, bollocks, yeah. I forgot about that. Terry, are you working from home?
Well, mate, I'm logged in. I'm willing to do whatever is required of me by my organization.
Define work.
Yeah, exactly. No, well, we've all been sent home, right? So I'm now literally penitentiary rules where I'm in here 23 hours. I go out for an hour to exercise and buy food, come back, just doing push-ups in my living room,
Penitentiary rule. Walks to the front of the door with his pocket hanging out, just waiting for someone to become his bitch. But
I tell you what, though, on a side note, like females WhatsApping me, like the graph is just exponential at the moment. Like a lot of things I left in the past, man. I think everyone's just getting lonely, and you're just getting the, "Hi, you working from home? What are you up to?" And one response was simply avoiding you.
What? I'm
struggling off the coronavirus.
Listen, I'll cough on all of them.
You should have used it as an opportunity to try and bolster your porn library, given the Pornhub's letting you down.
No. They're more OnlyFans than Pornhub, which is weird, isn't it? Here's the weird thing about life at the moment, right? You can get highly produced, high-quality pornography for free on the internet. And you've got... Wait, bear with me. Hold on, guys. And you get these women on Instagram directing you to an OnlyFans page where all they've got is a fucking phone camera and a bathroom mirror light. And I'm like, I'm paying £5 a month for the lower quality product. How does that work?
I honestly do not know. There's so many questions. There's so many questions, and there's so many things that I don't know about everything you just said. Oh dear.
Wow.
So, should we move on to something box related?
Might as well.
If we must. So, finally, now people won't know this, but Martin and I actually have a podcast to come out.
Yeah, what have you done with that?
Okay, right. Cards on the table. I've just been, because this is ultimately because you wanted to tag on ropes off on the end of it, I've been too lazy. I mean, I'd like to say, something got in the way or whatever. There's been other things this week, don't get me wrong. But I haven't been attentive enough. So I've got halfway through editing ropes off and I've gone, yeah.
You've never had more hours in the house than this week. This is bullshit.
Hold on, I'm still at work. They have not closed down TFL. I'm doing,
yeah.
I'm still at work.
Sorry.
And it doesn't look like, I spoke to my boss today and he was like, tomorrow, get the lads away, because I was off today, but I went shopping for my granddad. Anyway, that's a lot. But anyway, whatever. I spoke to my boss today, went, get the lads away tomorrow. We don't want to get any more exposure to anything they possibly need. Right, yeah, brilliant. And then it was suddenly, right, on Sunday, Sunday's happening. Oh, yeah. Get the lads back in again, get them exposed some more. So at the moment, it doesn't look like anything's changing, and I shall be at work through the plague.
Good.
So, whatever. Yeah.
Boxing, what's going on? What's going on?
Finally, it stopped, didn't it? And what I was going to say is, in our podcast, we talk about the fact that it's still rolling on. It
shows how quickly things are moving.
Yeah, in the space of, 3-4 days, everything has changed.
Yeah.
But
it's super interesting, right? Because they've moved the football season out, so it starts again on April 30th. So there's no Joshua fight at White Hart Lane because I imagine they'll still need a stadium. So what do you do with Joshua Pulev? You can't rearrange it for the summer because, as Hearn has always said, July, August are dead in terms of big events. So do you put this out for sale? I'm really intrigued to see if Hearn takes it to Saudi again.
By July, August time, we're going to be gagging for something, aren't we? Like, we're still going to have that appetite for sport. I don't see the Premier League season starting back, end of April.
No,
I might be wrong. I might be miles off, but that seems ambitious. But if you could fit in Joshua Pulev, July time, and it all worked out, we're all going to be desperate, aren't we?
Yeah,
I just want them to stop the season. I genuinely want the season to stop, and Andy will agree with me, because I just want to know Liverpool don't win the league. Like, this is how bad things had to go. Some mad scientist somewhere in the world had to create a virus to just stop Liverpool winning the league. It's just absolutely crazy at the moment in terms of the pain I feel about the football season. I'm just like, just stop it. Please, just stop the season.
What I can't remember, the argument of it's the only fair way is to continue playing. Well, it seems fair to me to just end the season, null and void it. What's the issue?
I mean, you might not agree with me. But in your head, you've picked out maybe 2 family members you wouldn't mind losing to all of this if it means Liverpool don't win the league.
Oh, wow.
I have.
Well, 2 family members you're willing to sacrifice to the football god.
Yep.
So,
if it means Liverpool don't win the league.
I want 2 things to happen out of all of this. I want Liverpool to not win the league, and I want Joshua to just fight once. Because I want to see Hearn sweating when those end-of-year numbers don't look the same as he thought they would.
Well, when you said about, the interesting thing you said about it going to Saudi, I think there's the other element to this is the fact that the country is, what tactics it employs, is obviously going to make a massive difference to how quickly they, whatever country we're talking about, get over this. And so in places like such as Saudi, we might be ready to, for example, to be able to allow Joshua to go ahead fighting by, say, June, but other countries may not, and we still might have to reduce and very much reel in travelling because you could reinfect the population again.
Yeah, but conversely, other countries might have recovered quicker.
That's true. So, but is there? I suppose there's a limit to where else you could have that fight, is there not?
It depends who's got the money. Has China got the money? China's coming out of it, isn't they? That'd be fucking brutal, wouldn't it?
Wow. Wow.
They've gone to all this effort just to get Joshua Pulev.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose. Look, if Matchroom are that desperate, maybe they would. I don't know. It sounds mental, but if someone said, that boxing match you can't have anywhere in your own country through fear of it being an absolute damp squib in terms of a financial hit, but you can come over here and we'll triple the amount of money that it's definitely going to get. Yeah, maybe it will happen.
Well, I bet there's a country somewhere that's willing to risk their well-being to some level to say, yeah, we'll take it. I bet you there is.
Well, Terry, when we spoke earlier, when you just said about Matchroom's financials coming in the year, well, I want to open that up more broadly. What implications does this have across boxing? I mean, we've spoken about it several times with Martin in terms of small hall and in terms of the promoters sort of scraping a living to some extent. What does this extended period of nothing do for the boxing scene at large?
So, ladies and gentlemen, look, I want to be honest. I want you to look deep inside yourselves. For £3 a month, you can enable a small hall boxer to get access to clean drinking water, at least one meal a day, and a protein bar, right? That's how bad things are going to get very soon. So, think about all these small hall guys that, you love so much, and they're having a hard time with it right now. So, look, if you can donate £3 a month until this crisis is over, we can make sure people get fed. I'm just playing. Look, it's bad in a lot of ways, right? But if you're a small hall boxer and you've predicated your annual income on just boxing alone, then you're a sucker for that for a start, right? Because you should know that it's not lucrative and you should have a backup plan. And being a PT should not be your backup plan because, PTs are struggling right now, man. They're all out in the streets selling the big issue. The people I do feel sorry for, so I'll give you examples of people I feel sorry for, right? I feel sorry for Andre Sterling and Dan Aziz because that was a legit fight that should have happened. And I'm hoping that it means that they get to fight on a bigger stage. So hopefully Eddie Hearn pulls his finger out of his ass and puts that on a meaningful Matchroom show. I feel for Isaac Chamberlain. Jesus, can the kid get a break? Isaac's lost 2 shows now because of this coronavirus. So he's not going to box again till the summer, which makes life hard. And so the list goes on. Ellie Scottney doesn't get to make her debut, and I was really excited by that. So I'm hoping what happens now is we reduce the number of shows that Hearn had planned for, and he just goes, I'm going to put all of these guys on the bigger cards I had planned, because pay-per-view will clearly take priority. So I'd like to see that happen.
He's already said Kelly Avanesian will be merged into another fight somewhere. So that won't be a standalone show, the Josh Kelly, David Avanesian one.
Which was dog shit as a card, top to bottom, dog shit.
Oh, yeah. I bet they're absolutely delighted that the fucking virus come round for that. It's probably sold about 8 tickets.
He tried to save 5,000 tickets, and I was like, no. The way these guys are still pushing tickets for sale, man, I don't know if you could fill York Hall at the moment.
Yeah. But it's a massive, generally, the impact. I think we discussed this, Andy, on our one, so we may well be covering old ground, depending on if you ever get it out. We recorded that Sunday. This is going to get out before our one.
I'm going to split it. I'm going to put it out at the same time as this. Why not? And then I'll just make another rope. So I'll finish rope top.
Just whack this one out. It's fine. But yeah, I think we discussed it on our one, that football, for instance, is a high-demand sport. Sky, BT, Amazon, they're not gonna cut football off. So they're gonna keep some form of funding against the sport. the
Yeah.
sport will have to pay it back in time and, fulfill its duties. Boxing doesn't have that. Boxing's not going to have a baseline income. And I mean that from the small hall, probably, through to the biggest of shows. Like, does Sky really care if they don't get Josh Kelly, David Avanesian as a fight night show? No. Like, they're not going to be paying a monthly, almost retainer to boxing and to Hearn. Like, they will pay per show. With football, you're paying for the whole of the rights for it. With boxing, I don't believe that there is that same baseline level of income that's put against the sport. And that goes all the way down to the small hall shows. If there's no small hall shows, then there's no income. And that could be crippling. Depends how long this goes on for. Like, it could be crippling at many levels. Because it ultimately comes down to, if you can't provide a product, nobody's paying for it. With football, you wait it out. Sky still want to show the Premier League next season, even if this season is a washout.
But isn't the difference, though? But isn't the difference, Martin, that with football, like, if Nathaniel Klein doesn't play, he still gets paid, right? But luckily, Sky can just go, well, if we don't put on any shows, it doesn't really cost us much in terms of having to pay the fighters. So actually, your biggest overhead goes away.
Yep.
Will Sky not be paying? Will they have not paid Matchroom up front for rights to their fights? So theoretically, then have 5, 10, 15 shows outstanding on a contract that's already been paid.
Well, the contract runs out in May next year. That's when the contract's up.
But will they have paid that up front, or will it be paid? Like, what I'm saying is, will this be enough for Sky to
pay per show?
Yeah, is it enough for us? Can we walk away from this and actually we'll be better off? I just wonder if that would happen, or if they've got too much invested in it. Because we've spoken already about...
They've got nothing invested in it.
So, I mean, we've spoken before about the potential of Hearn going to DAZN. If Sky think that is on the horizon, now do they go, well, actually, you know what, cut our losses and then drop him?
Well, no, Andy, Eddie Hearn's going to DAZN. Like, there's no, is he going? So I did an interview yesterday with Donald Smith, which I think part 1's out now. I don't know what time I said it for, but I think part 1's out now. And one of the things, the theory I've got at the moment is this. DAZN come into the UK and they buy up the BT non-boxing assets and they say, we need these rights in order to build a platform in the UK. They then they pull their product back from Sky, they get Eddie Hearn, Sky now goes, we don't have Matchroom, and Frank just jumps over to Sky with ESPN. And then suddenly BT get out of a sector that they had no business in the first place, which is boxing. Sky get their boxing content back along with really big American fights. And then Sky and DAZN go head to head and go, right, let's find out who's got what.
You really think BT want to walk away from sport altogether? They've invested a hell of a lot into it.
But that was under the guise of a 4-play system. So if we've got you coming to watch BT Sport, you'll get your broadband with us, you'll do this, you'll do that, and that hasn't worked out. So actually, this has become a massive noose around their neck because it's a non-core asset. BT's real business is corporate communications in terms of the infrastructure that corporations use to trade, IP phones, all that stuff you see in offices. That's where BT makes its money, wholesale. It doesn't make its money on sport. So it could cut sports off and still carry on.
But also, roll back what you just said there, Andy, about they've invested an awful lot of money in it. Have they?
Champions League rights, for example.
Okay, they had into other sports. Have they in boxing?
Yeah, I mean, I must confess, I don't know. I was using football as a sort of like, if they were willing to kick the door in when it came to Champions League, right? I assume they've been pretty aggressive in grabbing other sports rights that were previously held by presumably other broadcasters. You
don't think DAZN would just pay them and go, look, we will pay you pro rata what's left on your contracts?
I'm not dismissing the possibility of that, but it only rings true if BT genuinely want to get out of the game. It would be like an exit plan for them. Oh yeah, brilliant. Yeah, like parachute out of it. But I wasn't aware that was something they were looking to do. And given how aggressively they got into the market to start with, I then therefore assumed that it was something they would want to stay in for the long term.
They're looking for a way out. So I know that from guys who work for BT. They're looking for a way out. If they can leave sport having broken even, they'd leave tomorrow.
That's interesting. So maybe that is the case then. Maybe we do look at a future where you've got DAZN and Matchroom going head to head for boxing dominant status in the UK. But what happens to?
Well, DAZN would be Matchroom.
Sorry, I mean DAZN versus Sky. Thank you. But so what happens to boxing below that?
What I said earlier,
MTK.
There is no income against it. I think MTK will end up on Sky. I'd be shocked if not. When Hearn jumps ship, which will be May next year, and I don't believe any element of doubt about that at all. I believe he'll be gone. Whether they take the darts and no one gives a shit about the rest of the stuff, the table tennis and whatever happened to the gymnastics? Whether they take the darts and the other products, I don't know, but the boxing will go. And so at that point, Sky have that void. Whether they take Warren, Terry's fairly confident that they would. No idea. But I'm confident that even if they took Warren, they would also be taking MTK. Because they've already started partnering with them in terms of the Golden Contract shows. MTK put on best shows, people-wise, fight-wise, that aren't regularly shown on TV. Their shows, they have such a huge budget to put fights on and shows on. They put the best ones on.
Can I just jump in for a second? I think one of the things I wanted to say, and for the people listening, I think one of the things we should do on the show, Martin, Andy, is we should pat ourselves on the back as well, because, we're 3.8, 3.9 years into doing this as a 3. We've been fucking right about a lot of things, haven't we? Yeah,
ignore the wrong ones. But
our correct to incorrect ratio is insane. And if you remember,
I was talking about coronavirus this time last year. I remember.
Andy, look, stop pretending, right? The government have told all ex-soldiers to get ready, haven't they? You're about to turn us into a military state. That's why you're still working.
Yeah, that is it. I'm just getting ready. Yeah.
Martial law with Whitey on the street.
Can you imagine him walking around with Bear?
Everyone else first. No, I really can't. I'm like some sort of lead with wearing my full uniform and carrying a rifle.
100% you would take the dog with you.
But just not to Bolton.
100%.
You have to get an honorary rank.
But no, I want to touch on this MTK thing. I remember, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, I said something on the lines of the future of small hall boxing is small hall boxer in Manchester fighting small hall boxer from Birmingham at a small hall show in London. And Steve said it could never work. And then MTK said, hold my beer. And I know people go, oh, he's having a dig at Steve, which I'm not. For the record, Martin, if you see Steve, tell him next time he's in London, I'll happy to grab a beer with him. Let's all start again. But I think my point with MTK was what MTK did is they solved the big inefficiency in the small hall market. It was that you had big sellers in different locations and they never faced each other because it never made sense. And now MTK have said, now it does make sense. You could get Hosea Burton versus Andre Sterling if things kind of play out that way. And I think that's been good because what it's done is it's now said small hall boxers, there's a way for you to get big fights. And if you perform, there's a way for you to get on TV, be it Sky, be it BT Sport, which I think is good for the sport.
So the potential then after this, because of the situation that small hall has been forced into from a financial standpoint, that we could see almost like a small hall union putting small hall shows on in unison. or as partnerships?
No,
or as
MTK have
together?
negated that. No, MTK have negated that. So MTK have said, we're going to take a group of guys. I'm going to just pick names at random here. So someone like Hosea Burton, right? So Hosea Burton could do well enough in this golden contract that we go, well, I'd quite like to see Hosea Burton against Joshua Boatsi, or I'd like to see him against Craig Richards. And that can now happen. So Hosea Burton would have fought a York Hall quarters, semi-final, and then jump straight onto a Sky main event. And that
Can I throw a fly in the ointment there?
Yeah.
Do you remember at the outset of this golden contract stuff?
Yeah.
The winner, we were told, was going to get a 6-figure contract with a major promoter.
Wasn't it 6-figure purses?
Oh yeah, it might have been actually.
It was 6-figure purses, which I thought, what?
Either way, yeah, I want to see the receipts for that, similar to the Tyson Fury homeless person donation. Similar to
How many homeless people give receipts?
Similar to Tyson Fury wild boar receipts. That's what I'm after.
So I'm confident that the
I
fight.
need to slow down my drinking, man.
Mate, I'm about, I think, 3/4 of a litre in.
Nice.
Yeah.
How far we got before How far we got before another lucky dip, mine?
I've already gone back, but Terry was talking, so I chucked it in earlier. I picked out a Peroni.
Oh right, this really is a random.
Yeah, you really are hopping across,
Yeah.
man. Wow.
No, so like Andy and I have got we're going to do a bit of a gaming session Saturday night with another mate.
Well, Nate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Thanks, guys. Okay.
You're invited.
Real mates only.
Come along. Come along.
No, you're definitely invited. Are you a PS4 guy or an Xbox guy? Not that it matters, but
Clearly Pornhub Premium guy.
Wait a minute, didn't we have half an episode once where you debated getting a PS4?
oh yeah, and you were trying to get it, and it was like it was getting shipped over by a donkey or something. It was taking forever.
It came with coronavirus.
Yeah, it's still quarantined. But they're going to launch the PS5 though, aren't they? So I'm now sat like, do I just wait for the PS5?
Well,
Yeah, Christmas time,
you probably want to wait until after the depression for the next 2 years.
I'd imagine you get some good offers in about 3 months, mate.
Yeah.
So I've no idea where we were there, but
No, I'm lost.
Golden contract, 6-figure purses.
yeah, I'm not having that for a minute. Like, you cannot tell me. Let's look at who's probably going to win it. Mahara Davis,
Hosea Burton.
Hosea Burton. They're two people that didn't make the cut with matches.
So, Martin,
Yeah,
Martin,
no, I needed to reword that.
If you feel the need to, yeah.
Didn't make the cut with Matchroom for whatever reason. So for Davis, it was the whole falling out with Liverpool thing, and he got chucked under the bus. That's fine. I accept that entirely. But they happily let him go, and he went to Warren, and by all accounts, he's not set the world alight. Hosea Burton has pretty much been just blackballed by Matchroom, and nothing at all. Now you can't tell me that each of them is going to start getting 6-figure purses on the back of beating Tyrone McKenna.
Can I give you a theory on that? I believe that the purses are real. I just suspect the boxers won't see all of it. They won't see the majority of it. It's just my theory.
The management fee might be high.
I think it's you need really good management, and really good management's expensive in order to get those 6-figure contracts. So you need real expertise, real heavyweight muscle in the management game to get a 6-figure purse. So it comes with costs.
You need Rick Romman. I'm going back to the Lucky Dip.
Oh, okay. This is Jesus Christ. It really does sound like a lot of smashing of glass.
What's another Peroni? That's all right.
Okay, you've gone stable.
I've just
Stabilised.
realised Claire is sat outside the room that I'm currently sat in, so I'm going to have to give it up, I think.
Give what up? The podcast or the beer?
The wife.
So, okay, we've covered effects on potentials for small halls. We've covered what might happen in the next 12 months of boxing. What happens in regards to the wider mechanics of boxing? As we've talked about before, there's a lot of things that, like, I'm just going to spitball here. You've got Canelo, who won't fight on the 5th of May, or whenever it was, 2nd of May, or whatever it was. So that'll get mothballed. But will he therefore only fight when he fights in Mexican Independence Day or whatever weekend? What will happen with mandatories going forward? Will there be special exceptions in regards to, okay, you've got to drop this fight, and then will Dillian Whyte, for example, be the mandatory in 2021? Or will that get moved because they'll make special dispensations for it? All of this, I feel, is going to be, a lot of it's going to be loaded with maybe some lobbying from certain parties. What do we foresee happening as things start moving forward again and people start exploiting this situation for opportunities?
I want to see people get stripped. If you haven't defended it by like end of March and you were due to, you should get stripped.
Just seeing boxers climbing through other boxers' windows in isolation just so they can defend it, like
having an absolute straightener in their bedroom.
Right, yes. So Terry, what do you see happening? What's you know?
So it's that classic thing, isn't it? You know, like when trains are late and you get that knock-on effect. So, you know, there's just this massive logjam because it's not down to whether the fighters want to fight. It's down to whether the broadcasters can find slots to put them on. So Joshua's got to be pay-per-view. Dillian's got to be pay-per-view. Chisora's got to be pay-per-view. So if this gets pushed out to the end of May, you're trying to get those 3 pay-per-views in the second half of the year. And with all the build-up associated, don't forget Fury Wilder will be in the mix there at some point, so you want to avoid that noise as well. It's looking hairy as hell for everyone. I just think financially, this is the year a lot of people are going to have to just write off and hope 2021 is a better year. But it's good in a way because if you look at what's happened now, the lack of like that churn of IFL and rodent TV and seconds out and behind the gloves, I'm glad that's all stopped. And what I want to see now for the next few weeks is Sky Sports is going into the archives. You know, let's watch Foxgroves too. Let's go back on some of these cards that we thought were great, and let's watch them with cold, clear perspective. Because Sky have got the library to keep themselves going, as of BT. So we don't have to watch fights that we don't care about. So I'm looking forward to that part of it while we go through the crisis. But I think it's just going to be more of the same.
You want to play Foxgroves 2 and then come back to Josh Kelly, David Evanesian?
I think that's what's needed. I think
look at what you could have won.
But let's use this time as boxing to reflect on, like I said about this show. Let's remember the times that we were right. Let's also praise the Theobald crystal ball that said, some people just might not show up.
What was that one?
Yeah, that was the Manchester show, wasn't it? Or was it the Fowler fight where you were like, my crystal ball told me this fight's not going to happen?
Oh, shit, yeah. No, I brought my crystal ball out multiple times recently. What's his name? Fowler versus whoever it was.
Recently. Someone like that.
No, that wasn't a recent one, but whoever it was.
Flatley.
It's one of these stupid things that I knew about, the fact that Fowler wouldn't be fighting on the Saturday night against the named opponent, and yet Sky hadn't announced it. You think fucking hell, there are people out there that would have, for whatever reason, paid to go and watch Anthony Fowler.
Yeah, that is a random choice, but yeah, I accept that can happen.
Yeah, and like, at least be honest with the people that have bought those tickets. Come on, man. Like, I knew about it 3 days before it got announced. Poor. Piss poor.
So, okay, I realise that the original question I asked is quite open, and it doesn't help you, but I just feel like help you to direct you in a way to answer. But I just feel like people are going to see this crisis as also an opportunity, and they'll try and exploit it in some way. Be that fighters that would rather get rid of a fight, say if they don't want to fight a mandatory against somebody, would Joshua potentially walk away from his next fight in the hope that he can have a different fight come the end of the year? I don't really know what I'm asking there. But
Bob Arum will never let that happen.
Those mandatories are still going to be there. They're not going to disappear because of this.
So the boxing schedule as it is just gets concertinaed. Mm-hmm. Is that how we foresee it happening?
Well, it'll be interesting. I think the benchmark will be Dillian Whyte. And I say that because you go back and look at Mauricio Suleiman after they stripped Dillian Whyte of the mandatory after he failed, didn't fail, whatever you want to call it, the UCAD test. And then he didn't fail the non-failed UCAD test. And at that point, Suleiman said, oh yeah, you can have the mandatory status back and it will happen by, is it February 2021?
Yeah.
Okay. So where does that now sit?
Yeah, well, that's the odd thing. That was kind of, I guess, in the realm of what I was asking, because how long was it before he was said to have failed the test and then didn't fail the non-failing failed test or whatever the fuck it was?
6 weeks.
Yeah, and in that space of time, they went, no, you're not a mandatory anymore, decided to announce another mandatory instantly or whatever they decided to do. And then when he came back again, even he said, I expected to get put straight back to the mandatory status again. They went, nah, can't do that, mate. I know that we make the rules, our own rules, and we can change them whenever we want, but it's just this time we can't. Therefore,
well, you should have sued them then if it was that cut and dry.
Yeah. Well, this looks to me, because this is such an unprecedented event, this looks to me like something that will end up being scenarios such as that. Oh, I can't fight you because of coronavirus. What? That doesn't make sense. Well, see you in court. You know what I mean? Like that. I feel like if you've already got questions about the football, how the football's going to get resolved over, nobody seems to want to budge as to how they're going to free up the football calendar. Well, we have to finish it. Well, we can't start it late. Well, you have to do something, guys. I just feel like with boxing, there's going to be a point where somebody goes, no, actually, it'd be really convenient for me.
It'll be interesting because Dillian won't want to give up that mandatory position for February 2021. And as much as the whole world might accept coronavirus has put us back however many months, will Dillian accept that? No idea.
So he's due to fight Fury, or on the assumption that Fury beats Wilder.
The winner of the Fury-Wilder rematch.
Yeah. So that actually doesn't put much. That's not much pressure on that particular mandatory, is there really? Because theoretically, the Wilder Fury fight could go back a few months. You could still have the fight, then have a break, and then have plenty of time as a run up to February.
Well, when was that scheduled for? Is it June, July?
Yeah, I believe so. It was June, July time. That's what I
still
remember.
Happen.
Yeah, admittedly it could do. But even if you had to get put back, say, 2 months, you've still got time to have that fight and then drop off. And then have some time for a build-up before the Dillian Whyte fight. But like Billy Joe Saunders, Canelo, how does that affect?
Fight doesn't happen.
Now they don't have. Now that flagship fight doesn't happen.
Does not happen. I never believed it would happen.
No.
So does Canelo then just ride off into sunset and wait until October or whenever it is.
September Golovkin, December Murata in Japan. Make more money doing those two fights than he would Billy Joe and Golovkin. So Billy Joe will be left on the sidelines again, and then Eddie Hearn will scramble together a Billy Joe Callum Smith fight, because that's the only two fight those two have. Because if you think about Hearn's pincered. Once Billy Joe becomes available, you're like, okay, Callum's got to fight someone who has name recognition in the UK, because globally no one gives two shits about a man who beat George Groves with one arm and all that. Ugh. Yep. I don't care. I just don't care about Gallagher fighters in general. So you're left with Billy Joe or the John Ryder rematch. Which are you going to make more money with? I think John Ryder beats him the second time around, being honest with you. So I'd like to see him fight Billy Joe, because I think they're roughly contemporaries in terms of, you know, age and amateur experience. Those two guys overlap each other a lot. Let them fight.
Okay. Right. Moving on then. What do you want? Right. At this point, I'm going to have to just ask you guys what you want to talk about.
Mate, Andy, cover anything between our last episode and this episode.
Okay. All right then. There's an interesting one. I mean, I have listened to your podcast on the Wilder Fury fight, but you know me, I like to talk about Fury. Full stop.
Go and subscribe to Highfield Boxing. If you're listening to this on our channel, because I think we're going to put it on both, go and subscribe to Highfield Boxing and go back and listen to it, man.
It is very good. Terry, what does Wilder do differently in the rematch with Fury?
So, my frustration with Wilder in probably the last 18 months is he's almost started to listen to the critics and the pundits and the experts. And with every fight, Wilder's become more and more conventional. And I think that's played into Fury's hands, because the Wilder that iced Stavern, go for it, mate, let it out. That's like an exorcism.
So I tried to move it away from my phone.
Fuck off! Did you try and reel that in?
No, so if you look at what Wilder's done since Stavern, right? He's become more and more conventional. He's become more risk averse, and that played into Fury's hands in the second fight, because the Wilder we remember just let his hands go, whether he was on balance or off balance, it didn't matter. So as he became more conventional, it was easier for Fury to read what he was doing. And if Wilder is going to win, he almost has to just go, I can't outskill this guy. I don't have any tactics that are going to just, you know, fucking confuse Tyson. So all I can do is just jump in that ring and just box as if I'm listening to Martha and the Vandellas or Diana Ross and the Supremes, and just whatever I feel like, just let the hands go. And I think... Is this on the basis that if he doesn't even know what he's doing, then Fury can't possibly know what he's doing? Exactly, but if you're just going to be a 1-2 guy and you're going to be like, you know, skirting around the perimeter of the ring, Fury's seen all of that before. And I think I said it on the podcast, it's been a massive failure on Team Wilder that they weren't prepared for the best version of Fury. Like, what the hell have they been doing their whole lives? You know, that's what happens when people get lazy, and you guys know what I'm like. Trainers are my bugbear. You know, people like to take the credit. There was some idiot, I don't know who it was, Jesus. Derek Cooper. I'm going to name him. Derek Cooper said this the day before the fight. Jay Diaz is a trainer that doesn't get the respect he deserves. Day after that, Derek Cooper wasn't there to answer the challenges I came back with. Jay Diaz is an absolute clown. You know, for Mark Breland to be considered subservient to Jay Diaz is everything that's wrong with boxing right now. You know, Mark Breland...
I Derek Cooper. I like Derek Cooper. He does some brilliant photoshopping.
Well, better than yours?
100 times better than mine. He was the one who
doesn't make it very good.
Do you remember when Matchroom were looking for an MC?
Yeah.
And they ran that fucking competition that whoever won it is still the substitute for the homeless American guy.
It was a black dude, wasn't it? Hi, and welcome to Matchroom Boxing. Martin!
Greatest hit. Yeah, but Derek Cooper put in an effort to match her in boxing, which was phenomenal. So I'm not on my parish can I have a bad word spoken about Derek.
But that Jay Diaz thing, man, he's got to hang himself for that one because, Jay Diaz showed that he's an absolute clown.
Wait a minute. I'm back in the lucky dip section.
There we go. Smash bottles.
What we got?
Peroni
Amber
again.
Adler.
There we go.
4.3%. Carry on.
Oh, this is going to get messy, isn't it? So,
Yes.
I don't know if I'm going to interrupt your flow here. So feel free to carry on and save this question for later if I have. But did you support the decision to throw the towel in?
Yeah, so if I'm in Wilder's corner, I'm looking at it going, I don't know what's wrong with you right now, but you're in no position to defeat this guy. We've got another match in the contract. Forget this. There's a towel. We'll live to fight another day. Common sense. Protect your asset at all costs.
Yeah.
Agreed.
It reminded me, to a lesser extent, admittedly, but it started to remind me of the Eubank Nick Blackwell fight, in as much as, there was no way that Wilder was going to win. Admittedly, Wilder has that get out of jail free card punch potentially, but there was no evidence to suggest that he was going to be able to dip into the well to pull it out. When watching the Eubank Blackwell fight, I wish someone had thrown the towel in then. But just to see that towel go in, I sort of looked at it, I thought, I didn't expect it to come in. When it did, I thought, actually, that seems like a sensible decision.
But let's go back. Let's go back a second, right? And let's actually just talk about before the fight. Wilder was literally in his changing room like he had half an hour to get to his 10,000 steps for the day. And I was watching this going, Jesus, how much energy are you burning off? And no one told him to sit down, right? And then you're watching these video clips, and there was I don't know who his mate was, who was just hopping around as if he was fighting. And you're looking at Wilder, and you're like, I don't think you've really planned this from end to end. Because if you saw that ring entrance, it looked like they just decided it while he was wrapping his hands.
Yeah.
Everything about what Wilder did in the build-up to that fight looked like a shambles. And everything that Fury did in the build-up to that fight looked like it was planned to the T. And you saw the difference in the ring.
I need to pull you up. Terry, I need to pull you up, by the way, on your podcast. You were saying about the corner team should have got the fight called off after 3 rounds because of the cut. Well, it wouldn't matter because that rule only applies. It's an accidental cut.
It wasn't even a cut, was it? It was more. I think what I said in the podcast was I would have got the doctor in because I'm either going to get the fight stopped or I've got 2 minutes or 2 or 3 minutes for that doctor to check that that's not brain fluid leaking out, and Wilder can just fucking get his shit together.
Yeah, I agree with that element of it, but I think the point of the time was that you could get the fight essentially called off and then go again another day. But that wouldn't happen. You would have essentially lost the fight.
I don't know if I said that. That might have been rodent social. I don't know.
God's sake.
I'm going to cough on that motherfucker.
Do you remember when we stopped doing the podcast? We got loads of questions about whether we fell out, all of us.
Nah, did we fuck? Did we hell, man?
Like, I don't know why that was well, I guess, if people stop doing it. I just want to clarify. No, we fucking didn't.
No, I'll be honest with you.
They're bound to speculate. People are bound to speculate about that sort of stuff, aren't they?
No, but I genuinely think if you had canvassed us 3 in the summer and said, do you guys all need a break? At various points, we'd have all said, do you know what? Yeah, I do.
Yep.
I think that's
and you more than anyone else, because you're the one that did the travelling every single Sunday.
Yeah, and it's mad now just having Sundays where I just wake up and go, oh, You know, mate, look, I'm going over to Kew Gardens, man. I'm having breakfast at Antipodean at 9:30 in the morning. You know, I get my scrambled eggs with smoked salmon. You know, just relax.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't have to get here at 10 o'clock in the morning. You still could have done that when you were doing the podcast. Just standing outside my front door, shadow boxing for 6 hours until I opened the door.
Just to clarify to anyone that did worry or wonder, no, we didn't fall out.
Nah.
It was just you know, we all had a bit of burnout, and ultimately once Terry had taken that decision to just chill for a bit, Martin and I kind of suffered the same fate in the end. It was just we suffered a bit of burnout, and we weren't putting our best foot forward. Oh, we've had a dropped connection.
I'm still here, though, don't worry.
Terry.
No, guys, just to let you know.
From Terry.
No, Andy.
Yeah, anyway, Terry went on to do better things, and we went on to be two 37-year-old males putting on stupid voices.
What was I saying? So, Andy,
then when we reconnect with the guy that's doing a genuinely good podcast, the first thing we start talking about is fucking Pornhub.
Do you know what I think people don't realise with us? Are you still there, Andy?
Yeah.
Hey, Jesus. What the hell happened there? Man, I don't really know. Hold on. Oh, you lot, hold on a second. Let me get myself together. Well, no.
I'm still here.
I'm still here.
Right, cool.
What happened there?
I don't know. They just told me that you were disconnected, and then you were reconnecting, and then you didn't.
We were discussing falling out, and then you left us.
No, I think it's one of these weird things. I think people always try and look for edges and gossip and stuff like that. But you have to remember what we tried to do. And I think we pulled it off. We wanted to make a podcast that sounded as good as everyone else's, but we kept it as truthful and as honest as we could. And that's how we grew. Now, if you think in the time that we started this, we've seen everyone jump in on this now. And I don't think they've ever given people the degree of honesty. Tris Dixon does it every so often, give him his due. That rawness where people can go, I understand the sport a little bit better having listened to that. And that's what we try to do. And Martin, you'll know this. Andy, you'll know this. It takes a lot out of you to deliver that on a Sunday.
It does, man. And we've all got different commitments. Terry, you've got the Fitzroy Lodge commitment. I've got family commitments. Andy, you've got smashing your missus commitments.
I knew something that seemingly seemed trivial would come along my way.
When are you going to propose?
Sorry, Terry, you're breaking up, mate. Let's move on to. To be honest, I know what you mean, Martin, in terms of Terry, rather, taking it out of you, because, like, especially towards the end of the podcast, or towards the end of the podcast of us three, going to work every night and after smashing out a 2-hour podcast, that was wearing at times.
So it's not to break tradition. I'm going for a piss, by the way.
No, excellent.
I can take the phone or not take the phone. I don't mind.
No, but Andy, and you'll know this, right? When you're recording, it's the adrenaline that gets you through. You're like, you've got that rush of, we need to get this done. And then it's not till you kind of get a chance to reflect and you're like, Jesus, I'm knackered. And then you get that next day feeling of, and you're like, bloody hell. And that's what it was. So when people say, oh, you guys fell out, there was nothing to fall out over. It was good. And I think we said at the time, and every so often we'll just pop up out of nowhere and remind all these young pups that, the old veterans have still got it. We're like the Expendables now.
Veterans.
He's still there. Is Martin just pissing on his carpet?
Well, judging by the state of the toilet sometimes, after Martin's been in literally any toilet I've followed him into, he very rarely touches the pan, It's more like a taking on the. I don't know if he even has a penis or whether it's just a garden sprinkler down there. I really have no idea.
What's it? 50% floor, 50% sink, and then that's a good piss for him.
Yeah, that is it. Yeah. And there's so many child toys in the bar near in the toilet around his house that I just think.
I can hear you, cunt.
Whatever you do, don't play with the water pistol when you get there.
Oh, look, is this apple juice or champagne, Martin? Squirt, squirt.
I've just had to sing happy birthday to myself twice.
What?
Oh, is it your birthday? Of all the songs that you've chosen, that one to make sure that in case your foreskin's got a coronavirus on it.
Man, you dickhead! It's how you meant to wash your hands.
I know, that's what I'm saying. But you're
the reason. You're the reason the vast majority of the public get told how to wash their hands.
Well, we got told to sneeze into a tissue or the crook of your elbow and wash your hands properly.
But to be fair, if you've been watching adult sites, I think you might want to wash your hands a little bit longer. And while you're doing that, ask yourself, is life worth living?
Terry, what's the impact on amateur boxing with all this stuff?
So the ABAs are off, which I'm hoping they do a rerun because our lads were late for the weigh-in, so they got knocked out before they even fought. So I'm hoping they just start from zero.
I saw about that.
Yes.
Assuming as a coach, you're pretty fucking livid.
Well, so I was holding it down in the gym, and we're getting text messages going. So I got messages from guys that weren't fit for a lodge going, "Your lot aren't here to weigh in. What's going on?" And I was like, Jesus, man. And you imagine, and this is the side that people don't see. When you're a coach and you're focusing on those ABAs and you're putting the little things in and you're talking to your fighters and you're doing the analysis going, look, to win this, you've got to generate 90 punches per round, and you're timing them, you're counting everything, Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. All of a sudden, you get to a point and you're like, man, I just want you to go out there and deliver. So to not get that chance is deflating. For it not to happen because it's late is more damage to the brand of the club than anything else. Individually, I think these kids will bounce back, but the season's a write-off anyway, if we're being honest. The Olympic qualifiers, which were meant to be at the Copper Box, cancelled. So how the hell is everyone going to qualify now? Unless they just move it all to Paris, which I think...
Apart from Gallify and
Peter
someone else
McGregor
qualified, didn't they? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, but how good did Caroline Dubois look? And wait, let's slap ourselves on the back again. First podcast to talk about Caroline Dubois was... Thank you.
You say slap us on the back. I'm not sure Andy or I talked about Caroline Dubois.
Yeah, I can bear. I mean, I do remember, funnily enough, bizarrely, I remember you talking about... is it a woman?
What the fuck?
Well, I literally don't know what pronouns you use, so...
Oh, wow.
Caroline...
Andy's become woke.
Caroline Dubois.
Oh, Caroline. I couldn't actually make out... I couldn't make out the first name, but I remember you...
You're a fucking monster.
Just so everyone knows that I've not lost my casual tag in the time that we've been off the air. The first thing I thought was, I can't work out what name they both just said, but I know it's not Daniel Dubois, and I remember him talking about another Dubois.
Unbelievable.
That was my thought process.
So there are three Dubois, right? There were three Dubois you should just write on your list. Daniel, obviously, everyone knows now, but when we first talked about him, no one knew. Caroline is about to be what I'll call the first real superstar female boxing. Then there's young Prince, who's also coming through, and he's looking like a monster as well.
Is Prince of like a similar build then?
He's growing. So you have to remember, like when Daniel first started boxing, he was small, and then he grew. But if you've ever seen Daniel Dubois' dad, like, they're not small genetics in that family.
Yeah. And another shout out, by the way, because like you were talking about it on one of your recent ones, of like when you went back through the names of the people, and just to prove I do listen, when you went back through the names of the people that you'd mentioned on our old podcast, it's an impressive list, isn't it? The Sterling, the Aziz, Jordan Reynolds, I can't remember the rest of them now, but there was a whole.
We look. That's what I mean about this podcast. We've always retained that thing of saying we cover all levels. I know some people try to claim they were the voice of small hall boxing and stuff, and you know, time proved them wrong. You know. But hey, listen, man, we always kept it 100%, and I take pride in that. And it was important. You know, some of those guys.
I gave you Linus Udofia. That's what I'm claiming.
Hey, listen, and I still fuck with Linus. Like, he's the sort of guy. I look at Linus now and I go, just let this guy fight for the British as soon as possible, because middleweight is that sort of division now that once Liam fights for a world title, it's open season, and Linus has that in him to go for that now. And you made that call. I remember that, where you were like, I think this kid is going to win a British title. Man, I want to see him do it. You know, people trying to say...
No, I did.
You know, people say...
I've seen hundreds of kids go through that small hall system. He's the one that's always stood out.
But I think for me, and if he listens to this, sorry, Linus, but I do have to keep it real. I want to see an evolution in his game now. So I think as a small hall boxer, you can get away with a lot of things, and you can get away with outskilling people because they're not really coming to win. But I want to see, from Linus, what I want to see now is a bit of seek and destroy. Because when you come for that British title, you're going to have to show a little bit of that seek and destroy in you. And I think
Linus knows my thoughts. Like, Linus is meant to be fighting this Saturday. Clearly, it's not going to happen now. When he won the English title, he did a good enough job, but it wasn't a brilliant job. And he needs, as you say, he needs an evolution, a little bit.
No, you're absolutely right. No, you're absolutely right. But that's what boxing is. And I'll give you an example. There's a boxer I was speaking to. Let me not snitch on names, but we were talking about it because he's 25 now, and I said, from 25 to 30, you're going to be an athlete. You're going to be slick. You're going to have reflexes. What you don't want to do is realize at 30 you don't have those reflexes anymore and have to relearn the game. So at 25, you want to start learning your style for when you're 30. Yeah, because then when you slip into that and you realize your reflexes are a bit off and you can't hop in and out like you used to, you want to learn how to be cute, experienced, know how to do those little old veteran moves that keep careers long. You know, like a Mike McCallum is an example. And so when you deal with a lot of these guys in boxing, because they're trained by these British coaches who are very much upright, 1-2, 1-2, and when you're under pressure, just run around the ring with your hands up, you don't learn ringcraft. And ringcraft is the word I want to keep using in 2020. Who has real ringcraft among the prospects we talk about? Not many people do.
Continuing along, well, not obviously when you were talking about lines, but like moving along with the amateur scene that you were talking about. What impact, if anything, when are the Tokyo Olympics due to go ahead, by the way? Does anyone know? Because I don't.
I think it's August 2020.
I've only got two left. Two left in the bag.
Oh, yeah? And what have you got out this time?
It's a purple panther. Oi, oi.
Yeah, that
sounds like the kind of thing that Terry's ripped to shreds over the last 3 days.
Mate, are you just drinking shit you brewed yourself? Like, what the fuck is this purple panther? Like, what?
Mate, do you want to know what it is, right? Because I don't get to drink that often at all nowadays. At all. I've just got a cupboard underneath my stairs. It's got shitloads of, like, you know when you've had people over and you bought beer in and they bought beer round and it's what's left. I'm basically like, I'm on that at the moment.
I remember now, that purple panther, that was, that's what I brought round. It's,
I'm going to enjoy it.
I bought it at the gardening centre. It was, it's weed killer.
Fuck, it's 5%. It might as well be.
No, I've never heard of it.
I'm just on the old Rosie, 6.8. That's me now.
Right, carry on. Sorry. Tokyo.
So yeah, when are the Tokyo Olympics due to go ahead?
I think it's August 2020, isn't it?
August. Right. Okay. So do we? Oh, in fact, it's pointless me asking whether it's going to. It's almost pointless asking any questions regarding the coronavirus full stop because no one has a fucking clue.
Look, I'm a big fan of Tokyo, by the way. Like, they don't give a fuck, do they? Like, they're just carrying on regardless.
Well, they did say that they're just going to know we're still doing it, still cracking on.
Good on them.
But they're not really a country known for human rights, though, are they? So they don't give a monkeys.
It's a long way away.
Look, I think the Olympics will happen because I genuinely think by the first May bank holiday, we'll be looking back on this going, God, aren't we a bunch of soft fuckers?
Agree.
Okay, that's interesting. As it happens, I don't think that's going to be the case. Since you're going to have thousands of people that have died.
What, in the UK? Because Italy's at 3,500, right?
Yeah. And they're still climbing.
But how many people would have died anyway?
If they die, they die.
Granted,
you know.
Granted that answer is 100%.
Yeah, it depends on timeline you want it over. Look, how many people would have died in the next 100 years anyway? Well, everyone in the world. Well, there we go then. One marriage, what difference does it make if they die a little bit sooner?
If you slightly expedite that process, I don't know. Like, I'm kind of with Terry. I think this whole country going into fucking grinding to a halt is fucking mental. And I think we'll look back at it going, we did it because everyone else did it.
Yeah.
But we'll see how it... So, Andy, you're telling me, right? Andy, you're telling me, like, when they were trying to turn you into Jason Bourne, you didn't do any of this kind of scenario preparation?
All I know is that that there is movement on the military front, and they don't do what they've done the way that they've done it often for one, or two, lightly. And I just think that it.
Look at you being an in the know military guy. Love it.
Yeah. It's one of those things. I just think they wouldn't. When it comes down to money, they just don't do any, like a bit like sport. They don't do anything unless their arms is proper forced. I mean, like everyone was saying to them about the EU, stay in the EU, we're more profitable. And the British government nah, we actually think probably a bit better if we stay out of it. Just whatever money that difference was, probably just been negated by 350 billion they've had to just put into the economy. But Andy,
funny how freedom of movement has stopped, right? There's no freedom of movement now, is there?
Andy, what's your coolest military story?
Probably
when you got the bullet through the windscreen, Iraq.
Probably, yeah. That's probably, as it goes, the quote-unquote coolest. I did get mortared once, but didn't die, which is quite nice.
Well, you didn't die from any of them.
That's true, but that's true. But I sort of, the reason I speak about that is because getting a load of mortars, getting literally your position mortared is unlikely you're going to survive. Getting shot at
Andy,
AKs.
Andy, I need you to carry that story on. I need to go and grab some more grenadines. Sorry, just carry on, yeah? About 32 seconds. I need some grenadines.
He's going to top up his homunculus glass.
Right, give me 30 seconds.
That literally looked like... That did actually look like, when you sent that picture through, it looked like, I don't know, a GCSE science kit from the 1990s.
It was lacking a Bunsen burner.
Yeah. And it's my own concoction. I think, oh, God, that doesn't sound good at all. That doesn't sound like it can end well.
Well, I'm here. Shout out to, and I know Terry's going to back this up when he's back. A shout out to Winnie King, the doctor, for providing me the best Mother's Day cards possible.
And you know she makes those all herself.
What, by hand, man?
By hand. A little bit of machinery, but it's all her, like creative vision and everything.
Nah, honestly, that's insane. Like, and
I'm unaware of this. I'm probably because I'm my own fault, but go ahead, please educate me.
I ordered some cards a couple of weeks back for Mother's Day, like before this shit kicked off. And they came through within like a day and a half, 2 days. And they are like, granted, you pay a little bit of a premium on them, but that premium is worth it, man. Like, my mum's going to love me more than she does my brother after this, which is great news. Like,
let's not go too far, mine.
Actually, he's literally a doctor. I'm just a dickhead sat drinking some Lidl beer.
Grenadine makes all the difference.
Because those cards are exceptional. So get onto the Card King on Etsy, because if you want to impress someone, buy one. Enough said.
Okay, fantabulous. Terry, have you got your grenadine?
I have. Grenadine's a game changer. Do you know when I really fell in love with grenadine? There was this An American Dad episode where Roger makes a Roy Rogers McFreely and Stan doesn't get the grenadine, and so Roger goes apeshit. So I thought, let me try this grenadine, and inside of what grenadine does, it just adds a smile to the overall mix. Now, I think with the green tea bringing me up, the grenadine kind of just levels me off.
Yeah, you have an eloquent way of justifying some mad decisions.
Shouts out to Rodent TV.
Jesus Christ.
I know, you get the words out of my mouth.
Told you, man. I'll get Magic Johnson to just fucking put one in his backside, man. Let it out. Listen.
Did you try and hold that one in as well?
No, I didn't. That's a lie.
Today I'm addressing everything today. Everything is getting addressed today.
Yeah, go for it. Like, we don't know if we're ever going to record again as a group. Right?
We are. No, we are. We absolutely are.
We more than likely will, but we've chucked this together, again, just for context for people, we chucked this together because I think probably we realise people may appreciate, an hour and a half of us chatting shit together, because they've asked for it multiple times. We've not done it before, but these circumstances are different to any other time.
Listen, we might go live again. Like, if people really put the money up for those tickets, we might go live again.
Not for a few months.
No, look. Maybe not till this clears up. But listen, if people are willing to put the money up, how many times did you hear that? Show number 1, sold out, delivered. Show number 2. Listen, I know 10 people that came in there that, do you know what I mean? They just walked in. I mean, we're already sold out by them. People are like, yo, T, I got to come in, man. I need to see this. I mean, it was Stanley Romani for show number 2. So there's demand, but you guys have to, you got to value quality. I'm not coming out of live show retirement unless we do those numbers again. Do you know what I mean? So
for £1 billion, we'll do it in Northern Italy.
Can you do those numbers sober next time?
Do you know what? Like, my biggest regret is not realizing that bottle was a litre. Man, like, put too much fuel in the fire.
Your biggest regret is probably not remembering the second half of the show.
Yeah. Well, do you know what? We had a dickhead with a camera there that decided not to film it. Those are rodents for you.
No, I feel like this conversation with these 10 people might have, there was also a theatre. Maybe Terry walked into a room just with loads of mirrors in it, and about halfway through the show, when he was at some point said, Martin randomly leaves the room, brings David Allen back in. Like, what the fuck just happened?
Why not?
And Terry was so stonkingly drunk, he could have easily had a conversation with himself in the mirror.
What a night.
Oh, man. You know, me and Paul Gascoigne after. Gazza sent me a message going, how are you, man? Yeah, I mean, he understood.
No, he didn't at all. He offered to turn up with a fishing rod and a bucket of chicken.
Mate, I could have done with that chicken at the interval.
So yeah, we potentially could go live again if we all survive.
Right, what's going to happen in boxing over the next 6 months? What's going to happen? Throw it out there.
We're all going to be pissed off. Like, let's just start with the truth. We're all going to be pissed off. You know, we're all going to be annoyed at Hearn for talking nonsense. But what we're going to see, and I've touched on this before, I like how DAZN have reined Eddie Hearn back in. So now, if you look at when DAZN have big set-piece messages to get out to the public, it's either Skipper or Markovsky that go out there. It's corporate now. And they let Eddie Hearn just...
Markovsky's the fucking bellend.
No. Martin, no. In fact, I'm not. I'm well educated.
Honestly,
in fact, I worked my way up the system.
He's the kind of kid you'd have beaten the shit out of at school. For fun.
I think he's the kind of kid that used to throw the soap on the floor in the showers.
Jesus.
There goes my syndication deal with DAZN then, guys.
So we heard today that the French Open was going to be, basically they went, we're going to stick here in, I think they said October, 2 weeks, October, September, bang, September, which was 2 weeks after or 2 weeks before the US Open, am I right?
Right, what's this got to do with my question about what's going to happen over 6 months in boxing?
We're all going to play tennis.
Yeah, when it comes to most sporting events, they basically just they have to put them on at some point or drop them completely. Are we going to see that hunger that's going to be obviously insatiable by the time sport comes back in its various guises? Are we going to see like a land grab in terms of like dates just to try and be the first ones to put on a big show? So will it be a case of when is Joshua due to fight? End of June?
Yeah. June 7th.
Let's say the ban gets lifted, they say the ban's going to be lifted mid-July. Do they literally say to Joshua, right, keep on training for the next 2 weeks and stick to at the end of July, we're going to, any stadium we can grab, this is when it's going to be, in the hope that the sort of like tidal wave of immediate gratification for the want for sport will create a massive windfall in cash, or will it be a case of, right, now back on the scene, let's actually try and place our boxing events throughout the year? Because they're going to tread on each other as well, aren't they?
I was debating this like with myself the other day, actually, this exact question, because in football, you could have a team prepped and ready within 3 or 4 days. No problem. Like, they may not be match fit, but neither will the other team.
Yeah.
Whereas in boxing, if they said, right, the ban is lifted next week, go, then you've still got 8 weeks until anyone's ready.
Yeah.
And so you can't, I don't believe Eddie Hearn's going to have insight from the government and like a heads up as to what that date that you're allowed to go again will be.
Eddie, we'll keep the lockdown on for 8 weeks so you can be ready to go when we lift it.
Exactly,
No, guys. So here's an update I can give you, right? Most boxing gyms are shut now. And I know people say, oh, you can keep ticking over. But if you've got a fighter, what you're saying is, mate, you can't go to any public gym, so no Fitness First, no Virgin Actives. These guys are literally it's just road work and push-ups. That's all these guys are doing at the moment, which doesn't get you fit for a fight. So as soon as we're allowed to carry on as normal, I still think fighters are going to need a full camp before they can fight.
Agree. Which is why that 8-week period after the end of the incubation is going to screw people over, because everybody's desire for some kind of sporting event will be placated by the time you get to that 8-week period. After 8 weeks, we've seen, probably 16 rounds of Premier League matches.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Yeah, we've seen F1 return, we've seen tennis return, we've seen rugby return, we've seen
every other sport is ready to go at a week's notice, give or take, on the acceptance that everybody else is lacking match practice. Whereas boxing, you're 8 weeks out from a fight at any one point.
Except for football. Like, look, did anyone see Pogba in the Juventus shirt? Like he's really committed to United.
No.
I didn't see this. No.
He's on Instagram doing drills in a Juventus shirt.
Was that a spoiler?
Probably. So, Andy, I'd be prepared for a new midfielder if I were you.
Well, I'm happy. Bye. Go to Northern Italy right now. If you want to go right now.
Fucking hell.
To some extent, I'll drive you there myself as long as I don't have to stop the car.
No, but you're used to that. Snatch squad Andy, man. Get out!
That's how you pick Terry up anyway.
You used to call it the Snatch Squad because of the way that I used to accelerate.
and drop me off. Like, he'd drive alongside the train and I'd be on the bonnet of the car and I'd have to just make the jump.
I know what's coming from mine now. Come on.
There's now the Snatch Squad is who is protecting Terry in these desolate times.
I thought you were saying that the Snatch Squad is what he's now completed on Pornhub.
I'm done with Pornhub. Although, to be fair, you'd buy shares in Pornhub now, right?
I'm going to test out this Italian VPN thing that mine was on.
You got to do. How many times can you watch that Jerkmate advert, like, before your video? And that's really God.
How are you scraping this barrel so fucking deeply? Like, to the point where you're not willing to watch any pornos for longer than, like, more than, well, I don't know, but you're willing to watch a Jerkmate advert over and over and over again.
Mate, you don't have a choice, right?
Watch a porn film again.
Now, all the good ones have the Jerkmate advert before them. You're stuck with it.
You can't skip those 15 seconds.
No, it's 5. Like, skip in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, skip.
Skip, finished, off.
Well, obviously it was 15 before I was married, so I don't know what it is.
Oh, my fucking hell.
Actually, look, you know what? Like, because, it's us and we've pretty much got a captive audience. I'm just going to fire questions. Martin, Saturday's show, how good did Kofi look?
Kofi?
Yeah, Kofi.
What, Donka?
Yeah.
I never saw it.
Oh, wow.
Oh, mate, I wasn't there because you need to appreciate I've got, like, childcare tokens in life. And I saved them up to go and watch Linus this coming weekend.
Who was he boxing this coming weekend?
You what, so?
Who was he going to box?
Who's Linus going to box?
Yeah.
The guy that lost to Sean Robinson his last fight.
Oh, man, that's all gone over my head. Is it not Tyler Denny? So that's not it.
No, that's who he beat for the English title. Fuck, slipped my mind. John Brennan.
He needs to hope Jack Cullen doesn't come looking for that belt again.
Jack Cullen. Fucking the meat cleaver from Little Lever.
Yeah. Remember when Hearn was massively high on him?
Linus smoked him.
I'd rather Linus had to defend that belt against Pesta.
Really?
Yeah,
That's uncompetitive.
For a couple of rounds.
I mean that nicely because I went to go and see Pesta. I was down at Dunstable a couple of weeks back.
Oh, you did?
Kay Prosper defended against Bilal Reckman from Bradford, maybe?
Bradford.
Somewhere up north. And Pester was on that, John Harding. And John looked the best I've ever seen him, to be fair to him. He was aggressive, actually went looking for damage rather than, like, fucking more of a defensive output, if that makes sense. Pester looked the best I've seen him in a long, long time. But as soon as he steps up, I think Linus would beat him. You know, Jack Cullen, he put up a decent performance against Jack Cullen, I'll give him his dues. But Linus would beat him. I want to see Linus against Felix Cash, man.
For the British, I'd love to see that.
Yep. Or Denzel for the British.
No, do you know what? And like, I like Denz, and Denz will probably listen to this and go, oh, Terry's talking shit again. Although me and Denzel, like, you know, when I was his Paul Heyman type, you know, mouthpiece, it's the most views he's ever done in a video, so I'll take that. But I think I'd like to see Denzel just build for now. And that's me speaking as a trainer, not a fan. Like, you know, I think sometimes you can smoke a lot of guys really quickly because they're there to be smoked. But then you've got to spend probably 2 or 3 fights, maybe a year of your development, working on new ways, you know, setting traps so you can smoke, you know, a better caliber of opponent.
I have no issue with that at all. But if they're going to fight, they've got to fight for British, Linus and Denzel. There's no point doing it for anything less.
With you 1,000%. I love both guys. Like, it's how I'd feel with the Aziz Sterling fight, where I'm sat there going, I love both of you guys. I'm just going to sit here and just watch. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'll do it.
You're 100% right about the fact that they are fighting for a belt they shouldn't be fighting for.
Yeah, look, how often have we complained as boxing fans that we don't get prospect v prospect? And when we do, we have to celebrate that. So, look, and Umar's always my example of this. Umar fought Chelly, prospect v prospect. Yep, coped with that. Lost it, came back. Fought Cody Davis, massive underdog, prospect v prospect. Nailed it.
You've missed out a handful of fights there. He fought Daryl Sharp, and he had the best corner team he's ever had.
Yeah, he had the 37-year-old man from Milton Keynes who's known as the boxing savant. No one really knows who he is. But we've all been looking for this man, Tartan Meobold, for about a year now.
He used to be known of Hefty Belly.
You want to see him now, Terry? He looks like he's got AIDS, so he definitely took what you said on board and burn it all off. Fair play.
No, Theobald, what are you down to now, Martin? Martin, what are you down to now?
I am about 82.5 kilos.
You see, like 2020, like I started the year at about 112 kilos. End of Jan, I was about 100. I think I'm about 96 at the moment. It's one of the things I've realized that, just on a side note, this is definitely men in their 30s type chat now. Everyone's got to just drop that little bit of weight, yeah, just because your heart's not designed to be heavy. So get yourself as light as possible. I promise you, no matter how tight your shirt fits around your chest, that excess weight's not going to help you in a fight. So just get your weight down, yeah, get your fitness up, get your sharpness up, and your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, all that sort of stuff, they'll all thank you for it. Yeah, so just get yourself in shape.
Now, I started doing, like, I started training more, I started eating healthily. I had a knee op a couple of years back, you know about, but I was pretty fucked at the time. I couldn't do a lot. But my knee, shout out to the NHS, because my knee is in pristine condition right now. I'm playing football, I'm playing badminton, I'm doing whatever I fancy without any complications. I started at 106 kilos, I'm down to 82.
Yeah, that's good. That's good, man.
That's super impressive.
But that's within a year. Like, I started doing that just before Spurs got to the European Cup final.
Well,
happy days.
Funny what a year can change.
I need to give a shout out while we're here to Lee Crocker, LPC-boxing on Twitter, who's asked us for a shout out.
Always, man. Like he's a good guy, you know. He
came to our second live show.
Yeah, super passionate about boxing as well. So he's one of these guys like Danny Watley. You know when they've just got that fire in them.
Danny is the fucking man. Danny's the man.
Nah, I got a lot of... Listen, it's crazy, isn't it? Like, through doing this podcast for the years that we've done it, we've met people and we've had memories. Like, I still think back to being in Manchester that time, and you're just like, bloody hell, the things we've done collectively, you think, yeah, you know, Jake Wood, Spencer Oliver couldn't do that.
And that's kind of why we're doing this now. It's just to, like, just give those same people something to listen to for a little while.
Can you remember when Jake Wood and Spencer Oliver, they announced that live show tour of, like, the UK, and they were like...
Absolute venues, nonsense.
600-seater venues, or I can't remember what the venues were. They were like in the thousands, were they not?
What were they expecting, you fucking bells?
And then within about 10 minutes, the thing is, they put on like something like 20 dates or something, had they not?
Oh, mate, it was like they were touring a musical.
Yeah, I thought it was the most bizarre thing. I just remember at the time going, this can't possibly work. And then it doesn't. You're like, obviously.
And then they full on Frank Warren it at that point. Oh, no, we're really like, oh. Frank, you've got my email, fuck off.
Do you know what? Do you know what annoyed me about all of that? Is this. People assume that this podcast thing is easy. And I see people jump in and do it. And through knowing people in the media industry, I get to see the back end numbers. There's a reason why Eddie Hearn's No Passion, No Point isn't there anymore. Because realistically, for the numbers they were doing, it wasn't worth its time. Doing a podcast that has a dedicated set of fans that will back you to the end is hard as hell, but it's 80% about authenticity. Like, I like to feel the people that listen to us believe in us, number one. Number two, the people that listen to us would sit down and have a beer, and if you don't drink, you'd have a coffee or maybe a falafel wrap with us. Doesn't really bother me, but you'd spend time with us. And that's what we try and do. And so that's what makes us strong.
That's definitely been played out, right? I remember doing those live shows, and up to the point that you did your 7th bottle of brandy, and that finally went down. I remember just enjoying every single second of just even as much as going out and buying a load of Cheetos just for the fact that we'd mentioned Cheetos in the podcast a few times and then putting them on seats for everyone. I remember actually I just remember enjoying being around people that liked the same things we did and supported what we were doing. And yeah, that is, oh God, it's priceless. It really is priceless that people actually back you like that.
Guys, sorry, I just put grenadine on my carpet. Hold on. Let me just go on mute for a sec.
Where's David Price?
Where is David Price?
Well, you said about priceless. Now I'm thinking about David Price. Like, there must be a roided up Russian that's about 20 years old, ready to punch his face in.
Well, you know what David Price is. David Price is the guy that gets £1 million purse and takes home 50 grand.
Yeah, but before he's done that, he'll talk about building his career. And he's got to take the right fights at the right time. I'm on to the last one, by the way, Golden Goose.
He's well managed. Pricey is well managed. Mate, I think I've done just over 2 and a bit litres of Old Rosie. I might have to go and grab some Westerns in a sec.
2.5 litres of Old Rosie.
Mate, Old Rosie is a very underrated cider. If you're, listen, that is not subject to the panic buying. If you're in a Tesco's, grab some Old Rosie, man. Like, have you reminiscing about, you know, the 1950s or whatever it is. Like, I genuinely feel like Joaquin Phoenix singing Folsom County Blues.
Once I've done this bottle, I'm either downstairs to go and get some cider out the fridge, or I'm downstairs to go and get, I think we've only got maybe rosé wine or Prosecco after this.
Oh no. I wonder if we'll get as messy as that night with Pete Fenimore.
Mate, are you just at fucking Corbyn's house?
No, it's just that I've run out of booze at that point. I need to stock up.
Terry, well, we did. We went to watch was it Joshua fight mine? You know, and we met Pete Fenimore down the pub, and we've got back to Martin's. He said, "Come back to Martin's."
Idea. Pete Fenimore has listened to us for a good few years, and he's someone that I actually did a white collar. He was training with me for white collar fight.
So he comes and meets us at the pub. We went back to Martin's house for a drink, and that's it. Martin still makes me laugh. Martin said, "Do you want some mulled wine?" I was like, "Oh yeah, go on then." "Oh, you have to heat it up, right?" He's like, "No problem. Here's my mulled wine kettle." And he pulls out a 5-pound kettle and he just hammers a load of mulled wine into, flips it on, and goes upstairs.
No, I need to give you the context of this, right? I do have a mulled wine kettle, which is possibly the most middle class thing I've ever said.
Mulled wine kettle. Oh,
when I moved into my house is a new build. When I moved into it, they left a kettle on the side of the kitchen, but they only left the actual physical kettle, not a base. I was like, right, you're fucking retarded, whatever, for doing this. So you've literally just left me a kettle. Fine. So I just put it into a cupboard one day and I left it. And then about 6 months later, my mother-in-law came round and she opened up the kettle and inside it was the base.
Oh, okay.
Right, shit, okay. It was coming up to Christmas. We've already bought another kettle by this point. So I've got a spare kettle knocking about in my house. Come up to Christmas, chuck the mulled wine in it. And it's lived ever since.
So then we're getting like almost, obviously, boiling hot mulled wine upstairs. But it was good. It was good. We were already rather lubricated as it was. Oh my God. I think we'd run out of mulled wine. You said we'd gone through 6 bottles, didn't you?
Yeah, plus whatever we drank at the pub.
That was literally the most painful hangover I've had for a long time when I woke up the next day. That felt like my brain was... felt like all of the coronavirus in the world at that point was in my brain, which, you know, there was no coronavirus at that time, but maybe that's where it came from.
What, from you? You're the super spreader.
Yeah, I patient zero.
Your love for hentai and Far Eastern women has caught up with you.
Oh dear. Right, we've been now going on for 1 hour and 46 minutes. Do we have anything else to cover?
Half time, my friend, half time.
Fuck that. I've got to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
To do what? Wait. To do what? What have you got to be up at 4:30 in the morning for? Like, I told you, this guy's a super spreader. Who else wakes up at 4 in the morning apart from, I'ma fuck everybody up? Yeah.
I'm going to work for 6.
To do what? What are you fixing? Trains that aren't moving?
Well, yeah, precisely. But we've still got to do it because no one's saying don't fix them anymore.
Mate, like,
continue mixing, people.
Nah, mate, look, you need a career change. I'm just going to keep it all the way trill right now. You need a career change, Andy. That enables you to podcast a lot more. Like, I feel your value to the world is greater as a podcaster.
You're probably right. I'm not sure there's I've had any value as a podcaster, but I still think you're probably right.
I would say that Tony Bellew disagreed after you called him a faggot.
Oh Lord.
Most annoying, the most fucking irritating thing is I didn't call him a gimp, dickhead, penis, retard. No, I can't even use that word, can I? Any of those words that were okay to use, I wish I'd used them ones.
Can we just relive that moment when you called him a faggot? Because deep down, the sentiment was right, the wording was wrong.
Yeah. Thank you. No, that is true. I stand by the sentiment.
What was that actor on Question Time who tried to be the...
Lawrence Fox.
Yes, you're like Lawrence Fox, but before Lawrence Fox.
I think you need to explain to me what this is, because Martin seems to know, but I don't.
I knew before you'd even said what it was.
No, so basically Lawrence Fox goes on Question Time and does this massive rant against lefty liberalism, wokeness and all that sort of stuff. Gets a lot of right-wing support on Twitter and then a lot of left-wing backlash, and I think he struggled to get acting jobs after that, and then ran off social media a bit like Dave Allen did.
He's Billy Piper's ex-husband.
Oh shit, is he?
Yeah.
So's Chris Evans,
One of
right?
her ex-husbands. One of her ex-husbands.
Yeah. She strikes me as she just strikes me as being a bit of a car wreck. Like, I don't know if I would want to define my love life as being marrying Billy Piper.
It would.
Nah. Maybe someone like Rodent TV would, but not me.
How many references can you just like? It's like proper reaching every time you make the reference as well.
Fuck Rob Tebbett. Full fucking stop.
Why?
Have you seen this numpty? No. Let's just 30 seconds. Have you seen him? Look, he had his haircut trying to act like he's fucking GQ's Man of the Year. Mate, allegedly you buy views on your platform and no one gives a monkeys about you. I mean, get the fuck out the sport. You're a fake actor. You've been acting like you're relevant in the sport. And this is the reason I'm saying this. This guy's been backstage talking shit about me to people in boxing. So they get back to me and go, yo, Rob's been talking about you. I'm like, why? I don't really speak about Rob. After I dropped the Rob Tebbett napalm bomb, I haven't spoken about him. I haven't needed to. So if he's backstage briefing me, he has to understand at some point you're going to see me, my friend. You're going to see me. But that's snakish shit. Oh, do you know Terry? Oh, what's he like? What did you do with him? That's rodent behavior. And what it does, and I know people go, oh, you're having a go at him again. What it does is it says to people, what's Terry been saying about me? And I don't say anything. Look, I'm on a podcast here and I tell you what I think. I don't sugarcoat it. I don't do anything. But Tebbett needs to behave himself because I am going to see you at some point. And if you're not, if you're not truthful, if you're not authentic, if you're not respectful, wow.
To be fair to you, Terry, you've never sugarcoated anything.
No, I don't. Like, I'm not a snake. So when I'm hearing people saying, yeah, we had Tebbett over here. Yeah, he was talking about you. I'm like, why? Leave me alone because you don't know me well enough. But I know you. When Michelle fired you, you were crying on the phone to me. And I gave you a blueprint of how we'll get back. And I said, listen, I can get you a slot on Boxing Social. Facts. Now, if you want to run on Two Planks O'Reilly's podcast, then deny that you can do. But I'm telling you now, this is a statement of fact. I opened that door for Tebbett to be on Boxing Social, and he needs to rep that right. Because when I see him, there's going to be no failed actor type mise en scène. What is your inner motivation? It will just be, Rob Tebbett, what have you been saying about me? But there you go. I've said it. I'm okay now.
What about, right, Terry, I need to put this question to you. Your Highfield Boxing podcast.
Yeah.
You're far more middle ground than you were with us. Are you going to reach the extremities, or are you going to save them when we're putting together
taking the road to assassinate our podcast?
Do you know what? It's really strange because I don't
mind what the answer is, by the way, at all. I don't give a fuck, really.
No, I'll be honest. What I love is I can bounce off you guys. That's one thing. When I strap the headphones on and I put the mic up, I miss that. Like, I can just bounce off you guys. I always remember, was it David Price, Christian Hammer? And we just had that thing between the three of us where we were like, how the fuck have they let David Price box again?
Was that the one where
the giraffe?
He said he was like a giraffe with a watering hole.
Yeah, and we could just buzz off each other. I think sometimes when you're on your own, you don't have that that kind of that springboard to work off. So it's not conscious. It's not like I'm just gonna run this straight down the middle. It's almost like I'm just here on my own. Like who the fuck's gonna buzz off me just going, this guy's a twat? Do you see what I mean? It's hard. But I think if the podcast were to evolve to a sit down face to face thing, I think then the nature of the content would change as well. That's where my head is at the moment.
No, I get that entirely, to be fair. But it's very different when you do it. Not that I've done one by myself, but if you have other people that you can chat to, and ideally in the room, yeah, not going to happen till about May time. But
yeah, listen, unless you're Fritzl, then you're all right.
I don't have it, and my kids don't have it because my kids have never left the basement. So we'll be just locking down and getting on with stuff.
What did happen to Fritzl? Like, is he still locked up, or has he shown that he's a reformed character?
Oh,
I'm not sure it's him who was locked up.
They let him off. They said no one was willing to testify against him, so they let him go and locked his kid back in the basement.
So yeah, look, he didn't want to pay £3 a month to help people, fulfill their potential. He just brought them in himself.
Did he pay £5 a month for protein bars?
There were definitely bars involved, but I don't think there were protein bars. Maybe iron bars.
Oh dear. Right, do we have anything non-Drunk Martin? Do we have anything left to say that Drunk Martin and Drunk Terry that isn't going to be ridiculously outrageous?
Where's Madeleine McCann?
I knew this was going to spiral downwards, but I think the last 5 minutes has been quite a bit of a trench.
It's a genuine question. Wait,
can we stop? Andy, are you not drinking?
2020.
No, I'm not drinking. I haven't had not one centiliter of alcohol has passed my lips since we started this podcast.
Mate, you failed. Like, don't be mad at us. Like, we knew what this was.
You know what you called Tony Bellew?
Yeah.
Yeah, wait. You know what you called him, and you can order them from Brains, right? Isn't it like a pork-based product? You can buy two in a pack.
That's exactly what I was referring to. Fucking hell! All those people that were so criminally offended by that, get on your fucking bike, you cunt.
Well, they weren't, were they? They weren't really offended.
No, they weren't. They were just knobheads on Twitter. Fucking hate them.
Yeah, to some extent, I wish I'd have just stood by it now and gone, what have it?
Do you know what?
Possible backlash was
honestly,
I didn't mean it that way.
I'll be honest with you, right? The easiest way to survive on Twitter is to be brutally honest, right? Sometimes you gotta go, do you know what? Yeah, I called Tony Bellew a word I probably shouldn't have used, but it's happened, get over it. Or you can just say, look, I'm training a 16-year-old boxer and I've had sex with him. Get over it.
Wow. What are you possibly referring to?
Oh man, something from the 1950s. Sorry, got a bit out of line there.
Yes, I heard that was Anthony Spellew. Oh, Terry.
No, that's not who he's referring to.
No, I have no idea who he's referring to. That won't shock anyone who knows my boxing knowledge.
Jesus,
I
man.
do.
Like we're.
Oh dear.
We're in equal parts reckless and hooligans. But look, sometimes this is what content's about. Like we are never going to be asked to front the DAZN broadcast, although I think we'd probably be the best three for it. We're never going to be asked to do Sky or BT Sport. Our role is just to be almost like the fucking, like when people talk about animals, people talk about the lion being the king of the jungle, the tiger being this, but really the crocodile's a motherfucker you don't fuck with. But the crocodile just stays underwater chilling until the time is right. But when have you ever seen crocodiles starving? You never see the Attenborough program, do you? Where it goes, yeah, the crocodiles are starving because there's nothing to eat. Crocodiles always eat, and we're the crocodiles of this shit.
We can return anytime we want.
We do what we want. We do what we want.
Spencer Oliver, we do what we want.
He fucks who he wants. He fucks who he wants. That's the best one I've heard.
John Terry, he fucks who he wants.
I thought you were going to say Jimmy Savile. Thank God for that.
No, I remember a specific football that was sung about, and it was even worse than that.
Listen, there are long-time Chelsea captains that got away with shagging 17-year-olds in their Bentley, and that story got suppressed in the media. Whew.
Oh, yeah.
How? There you go, man. There were no rules when you've got that kind of money, as we found out in boxing and doping.
Oh, Terry, do you listen to the BBC boxing podcast?
Begrudgingly.
Specifically, did you... Are you gone, or...?
No, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Terry? Oh, I think Martin might have gone. Yes. So,
yeah, I'm still here.
Terry, the BBC... Did you listen to the episode where they were on... where they were talking about the Saudi Arabia, when they went to Saudi Arabia, and how glowing they were about Saudi Arabia?
Tartan.
He's not there. Hold on. I'm going to try and bring him back from the dead.
Do you know what's mad is we could bring anyone in, right? Providing they're on your WhatsApp, we could bring anyone in.
Yeah, we could. Should we just do a random dial as to who have I even got on here that we could dial in?
Wait, hold on. Wait. No, hold the line a second. Let me just try something. Right, I'm going to try Umar Sadiq. Let's see if he's on.
All right.
It's ringing, apparently. No.
So that hasn't worked, right? Who's got Linus's details? I haven't.
I am.
No. I can ring my mum if you want to get my mum on.
Or we can try Eddie Hearn. I'll dial him. Ready?
Who?
Hearn.
Go then.
There you go.
Oh, fucking hell, he is as well. Oh, I'm not talking to him.
No. Let's go. Fucking hell.
Shocker, he's not picking up. Shocker.
Is he not picking up?
No, I know, absolute shock.
I'll cancel.
Lord of mercy.
I'll aim slightly lower. Let's go with Linus.
Slightly lower.
Or slightly up.
It's ringing. These pictures they've got as their WhatsApp photos.
Very flattering.
Yeah.
Linus, pick up. He's not picking up, is he?
No, I don't think anyone's going to want to pick up.
No, give me a sec. Hold on.
Oh, this is a real low in our podcast content.
No, it's not.
Real high.
Two of us are absolutely wasted, and we're trying to call people. Well, we're saying we're trying to call people. No one can actually see the screens like I can.
No. Hold on. Chill.
They are trying to call people.
You want me to dial in Dillian Whyte?
Eddie Hand's phone number looked like a Eddie Hand's phone number looked like a personalised number. That was like well easy to remember, that bad boy.
Right. So I'm trying Umar at the moment. I'm not sure if Umar's going to say, no, I'm in bed. But no one's got any fights coming up. We're all good.
Yeah, that's true. Well, what do you think for your next fight? Like, I don't know what it's going to be. So
Listen,
in bed.
no. Let's all bang the drum for Umar v. Lerone Richards.
I literally.
Oh wait, no. So Umar can't because he might have suspected corona, so he can't pick up the phone.
I can't pick it up over the phone.
Pick what up?
Corona.
Do you know that for sure?
Not 100% no.
God damn it, I've literally no one that I could call that'd be worthy of talking to, or worth talking to.
Call Michaela.
Worthy. No, she wouldn't. She really would not appreciate that.
That she would. Yeah. Does she know I'm on the call? Ah, come on, man.
Sarah.
Should I call her? Available.
Well, metaphor.
Who are you trying now?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna try Michaela. I've not tried yet though. Oh, hold on. I hope she doesn't say something that's hello, something like that.
I love this. This is when you got pre. Oh.
Claire wanted me to ring you, so consider yourself rang. You're on a group call. You're on the podcast.
Why don't we add in Goodwin?
Hey, call Goodwin.
Well,
yeah, get Goodwin in, man. I don't mind.
Right, let's add him in.
I don't feel like you're making the most of this. I rang her and you just instantly jumped to Goodwin. We could have started off with.
What do you want from me?
Hey, Michaela, man. Hey, Michaela, honestly, I miss you.
No, I miss you too.
Nah, you know when I see you next, man, the way I want to hug you, I don't know if your ribs will cope, but you got to understand it is what it is.
Is it going to be a boob hug?
Hey, listen, I don't know what's going to happen, man. I'll try and restrain myself.
No, you won't. Why lie?
Right, I can't add in Goodwin right now.
Well, I can. You can actually hang up, and this was just a purely, I think, a novelty experience that Terry wanted to add someone to the conversation.
Okay, you thought of me. Oh, that's nice.
No, we thought of Eddie Hearn first.
Yeah, we tried Eddie Hearn, but he didn't pick up.
Okay then.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Mate, that's absolutely brilliant. The way Martin's first thing was dial Eddie Hearn. Just address the Transformers thing head on. I love that.
Let's go all in. Right, I'm going to try and win Goodwin.
Umar Sadiq, Eddie Hearn, Lionel Udofia, my girlfriend.
No, look.
The beats up was my girlfriend.
Okay, look. Okay, now guys, hold the line. I'm trying to get to this call. Fuck, how do I get to? Okay.
Steve's not picking up. Nobody wants to pick up. Who would? Oh,
hello.
Oh, Steve.
Hello. Steve, it's Martin and Andy and Terry.
All right. How are you?
You're on a podcast, Steve.
In isolation.
Everybody all good?
That's Terry.
How are you, Terry? You good?
Mate, how are you?
I'm all right. I'm in isolation, so it's not a lot of fun at the moment, but...
Self-induced or as a result of having the virus?
No, self-induced because of the health stuff I've got wrong with me, so...
Mate, and the stock market's going ape shit as well, so it's not a good month, really.
No, things are not... I've had better months.
Mate, my tip at the moment, just jump on Microsoft.
Really?
Yeah. Well, see, everyone laughed when I said this, but like having done operational resilience before, everyone's going to want to have Microsoft something, right? So everyone's going to upgrade their subscriptions. You're going to want Microsoft Azure as your cloud platform. Resilience will be the thing for the next 2 years. So I think Microsoft shares will keep going up. Not qualified financial advice. That's just my opinion as a layman.
This is our new financial podcast, Steve. So we didn't clarify that before.
We're about 2 hours in. Terry and I have been drinking throughout. So.
Oh my god! Oh my god! I dread to think what you've been saying.
That's been civilized. I think we've been measured about most things.
That's the one thing that hasn't been. That has not been civilized at all.
Terry said he'd like to meet you for a beer next time you're both in London.
That is true.
Okay, sounds like a plan. Just hope we get to the stage where we can go and have a beer. That's the most important thing.
In 2023.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's kind of why we called it all together tonight, was to get the three of us together, and then we would just ring in random people to see who would join us.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's nice. It's good. It's good you're back together doing your stuff. It's good. It's good. Where's Johnny Flash tonight then?
He's busy. He's in camp.
Well, he's not in Norwich.
Actually, we could. Funny enough, we wouldn't have been able to ring Johnny Flash or Rick Ronman or Barry. In fact, unless we could have rang Rick or Barry when Martin was in the toilet. I suppose we could have done that.
We're debating one week, Steve, doing a live negotiation with yourself as a manager and see how it goes.
But really, what, negotiate with me? That's probably not going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's the point. Rick can try and work his magic against you. See if you fall into his many traps.
I've dealt with loads of Ricks in my life. My God.
But you and Terry, Steve, you've got a backdated history. We're going to wipe the slate clean, but obviously all this stuff with coronavirus is going to set small hall boxing back months.
A long time. A lot longer than I think people... Generally, I think a lot longer than people think it will. I think economically, the amount of damage that's being done to people in business and small businesses, do you imagine even if they get this sorted, the virus sorted in 6 months, who's going to fill up small hall shows? I think you'll get away with the people who come out and go to the big events, but the boxers who are asking their friends, family and all that stuff, and us selling to the general public, that's going to be difficult, really difficult, because there's not going to be the money there.
Because presumably that'll also affect boxers when it comes to sponsorship by local firms.
I think that's knackered. I mean, that's the problem, you see. The problem you have is, I don't know what Terry's view on this is, but a lot of boxers that run around going, I'm full-time professional, and they're doing it by sponsorship. They're not really full-time pros. They've just they've just been really good on getting sponsors to do it, but they're not good enough at their craft yet to get the real sponsorship, the TV sponsorship. So those guys now, who haven't got a job, are probably going to lose their sponsors.
Terry, what did you say earlier?
If your sole source of income is boxing, you're a mug.
I agree.
But here's the thing.
Agree.
But and I think it goes back to one of the things I've said over a number of years. If you have 10 amateur fights and you sign to do small hall boxing, this is what happens to you. I legitimately think this is why you need to build up an amateur record, number one. And number two, while you're building that amateur record up, you need to be getting people engaged. Now, I look at an example. Here's an example, and this was very recent. Mason Smith jumped over into, I think it was MTK signed. It didn't work out for him.
He was Mo Pryor.
Oh, sorry, Mo Pryor. He wasn't doing numbers, went back into the amateurs, did the ABAs this season, lost in the first round. And now you're almost like, mate, all that profile you built up, GB trials and all of this, and you've just lost to a guy that no one's ever heard of.
Oh, my God.
It's terrible. That's why, Steve, you and I have talked about this before. I wouldn't sign a boxer who hadn't had at least 40 amateur bouts. That's my take on it. No matter how desperate they are, 40 amateur bouts.
The only thing is, for example, on Saturday, now I get it. I mean, you'll be pleased to know, Terry, that the board have now said that basically, indirectly, are saying they will not turn anybody over who hasn't got amateur experience. They will not get past the board application process.
Thank God for that.
How does that affect you, Steve? With like the lads that you used to take off of the unlicensing?
Well, it means they've got to go and do some amateurs. I mean, the thing is, Ian Martel, who beat Lopez on Saturday, the only thing that contradicted Lopez had a brilliant amateur experience. He was something like 75% wins in the amateurs, won plenty of titles. Martel's an ex-MMA fighter, and on Saturday, Martel with 8 pro fights beat Lopez for the Southern Area title.
Yep.
So in that instance, you've got a guy that that has no experience, but yet he is probably English title level, fighting a really good above-average amateur, and beats him fairly comfortably. He won by 2 rounds, but maybe 3. So it is a bit of a thing where there's always an exception to every rule.
But had he had no experience? You know, because there are guys who will go into a boxing gym, they'll spend a couple of years there, and then go, do you know what? Screw this, I'm off to do MMA.
No. He was from MMA. He decided that he wanted to give boxing a go with no boxing experience, turned over with no boxing experience whatsoever, and in Fight 9 he's won a Southern Area. But he's not my fighter, so there's nothing to do with me, this guy. So, but he looks decent.
But the best example I have of, I think this was your show, wasn't it, where Conor Hines boxed?
Yeah.
Now, Conor Hines hasn't had a lot of amateur bouts, but having trained him myself, he has that freakish power that doesn't make any sense. And so he's the sort of guy that I look at and I go, none of your knockouts make any sense, because everyone looks fine for the first couple of rounds until it all catches up with them and they just go, I don't need this in my life. I'm not paid enough for this kind of punishment.
Yeah. I mean, it's very true. I mean, again, it's very hard. But I know you said this thing about 40 amateurs before. I think my view is I'm not as fast as I think everybody should be treated fairly. However, what I do agree with is there's a lot of kids that have turned over that shouldn't never have turned over. Never. Not good enough to turn over, done so. And I think there's plenty of them out there. Some of them are journeymen, some of them are home boxers. But I think, you know, there are also some kids that, under the new rules, wouldn't have ever turned over and have ended up being very good.
And so I think these are teething problems, because I go back to when I was learning the trade and learning the sport. Like someone like a Frank Maloney would go into the gym and he'd go, what's so-and-so like? Is he any good? And then you've got old veterans in your gym who go, do you know what? He probably needs another year on the amateurs before he turns over. And so what ended up happening is you ended up having guys coming in who had longevity in the game. I think what's happening now is kids are turning over with trainers who are kids themselves. And so
I agree with that.
You're not getting that filter anymore.
That's fair. It's really fair. No, that's really fair. I mean, it is a problem, and there's plenty of examples of it out there as well. And you think, but there was also some kids that turn over with 15 amateur fights or 20 amateur fights, and they're miles behind kids who come from the unlicensed, miles behind. So it's sort of a bit, difficult. I think the biggest problem the board have is that they took away the trials bar, because now they can't. You know, the new thing, anybody can pass as long as you're fit. You're going to get past it. So that's why I think they changed the thing to the amateurs. But to me, it's still not as it should be, the actual thing. I think you do need to improve the quality, but it's also very difficult with a lot of these kids turning over, because it's not just good enough to turn over. As you know, Terry, if you turn over these kids and they're not good enough for the TV promoters and they don't sell tickets, they're stuck in the wheel. They're just stuck in the middle of nowhere, aren't they? They've got no hope, and it doesn't matter whether they will go onto the big hall. If you're going to someone like Frank or Eddie Hearn, both time they expect them. They want them to sell tickets, and if they don't, you soon find they're sort of left on the side.
And they're getting that same problem.
Your job, Steve.
No, but that's the same problem that they've got, right? Because you're signing guys now, and you're going, well, he's Team GB, therefore he must be good. But no one's actually watching the fighter and going, where's your headroom? That's always my question with someone. Give me someone with 5 bouts, 20 bouts, it doesn't matter. What I'm looking at is, where's your headroom? What are the things you can learn that will make you a better fighter? Number one. Number two, do I see you being able to operate at world level? So I had an interview yesterday with Donald Smith, who is one of the trainers at the Matchroom gym. And we're talking about this. And we're saying there are some people you just meet who are special, and you know they're special. And there's some guys you meet and you go, I think you win a Southern Area title, but that's probably your ceiling. And boxers aren't realistic about that ceiling.
Fair. We've got a few kids at the moment who I think are really, really, really decent. We're way above Southern Area level, and you know the ones that are going to go much further. You know that, and you know the ones that have got a good amateur record and just aren't that good. I know we've had a few in the last year. They sort of unravelled as not being that good, yet you would have thought they're going to be good. So it's quite a difficult. Some of it's down to training, and some of it's down to having the wrong teams around them. But it is very, very difficult to get that. You get the odd one, you get the odd few that come through, and you think, like the Linus Udoka, who had 40 odd amateur fights, he was always going to be very good. Brad Paul's had a lot of amateur fights. He was always going to be very good. So they stood out, in other words, because you had.
And if you look at those two, Brad went a long way in national competitions. Linus, I always remember Linus because he boxed Jermaine Brown.
Yeah.
And we know what Jermaine Brown's gone on to do.
He's a good kid, Jermaine Brown, yeah, for sure.
So you know that Linus is in high company, because I think Jermaine Brown he could realistically challenge for a British title. I think Linus can challenge for a British title. So they're at that level. But if you look at both of those guys, they came from what I call the old school system, where it was, we're going to give you loads of bouts, so you make all your mistakes now.
Yeah.
And what you're seeing now with a lot of guys is they're going to other gyms that aren't as old school. You get to 5 fights, you've been matched carefully, so you're undefeated, and then that's it. Yeah,
fair. That's fair. It's fair. I mean, we've got another good cruiserweight kid called Jamie Smith, who's, I think, is exceptional.
You love Jamie Smith, didn't you, Steve?
Oh, he's brilliant. He's going to be. He'd win the Southern Area tomorrow probably, and he's only had 2 fights. So, but he's weird. But he's had all the. He's had loads and loads and loads of experience. He's 29, but he's exceptional. But you know he's exceptional. You know when you got him. You know when you got him. You think this kid's way average. So that's the sort that you can. You know who you've got going to become way above average.
And that's what we need to do, right? We need to filter out the. Oh, sorry.
No, while we've got Steve on the line, discuss your ideas of how small ball boxing could have improved in 2020. Ignore the coronavirus. Yeah, can that never happen? How could boxing improve in 2020 at small hall level?
So we talked earlier about this, and I said what MTK did is MTK took a guy that was big in Manchester, a guy that was big in wherever, and they said, right, you guys are all going to box in London. And so what that did is it brought a Manchester market with a Birmingham market to potentially a London market. And the only way that and this is an MTK model, for example, the only way I see small hall guys doing that is them going, I need to accept sometimes my guy's going to be a B-side somewhere else, but as long as I can get something back in return, it all makes sense for us to work together. I just don't think you can be an island in this current era, because there's not enough talent for you to ring fence your guys around, if that makes sense.
But the MTK model works because they've got unlimited supplies of money, whereas the rest of the promoters don't have that. And that's why that can work. I could make that work if I had the money and the money that they had. But if you don't have that money, it's very difficult to do it, because the maths of small ball boxing don't add up, and it's different with how they operate to everybody else.
No, agreed. But now let's look at it from what we know is true. MTK aren't going away anytime soon.
No, of course not.
So all they're going to do is encroach into your territory. So if I'm an MTK guy, I'm looking at Linus Udofia, I'm looking at all Steve Goodwin's top guys, I'm looking at Errol Johnson's top guys,
I'm looking at Steve Wood's top guys and saying, well, if you come under us, we'll build you and we'll get you on TV.
No, you know, that's where it differs. And I don't want to get into an anti-MPK crowd on an open podcast, but no, we build the fighters from scratch. They just put them in fights. So there's a different model to. I mean, I spoke to Linus in great detail about this, and they operate something totally different. They're providing a product where they will just put everybody in together and the fittest survive, which is fine. It's a great product. That's not what we're doing. We're trying to build, like the Dion Juma of this world, we're trying to build him from where he was on the wilderness to become a British champion and then get a decent TV contract and be able to be managed and matched totally the way that we want to. They have a different model. They're providing a good, and to be honest, the shows are good. They're good competitive fights on the shows, and that's great, but it's a totally different thing to what I'm doing.
But if I can ask you a question, Steve, right?
Yeah.
Who built Dan Aziz if it wasn't MTK?
Oh no, Dan Aziz is one. He's not there yet. But Dan Aziz, I'm talking about resurrecting a career from somebody that's sitting there with nowhere to go. Dan Aziz is there, but I don't want to get into it. I'm not going to get in an anti-MTK thing. Absolutely not. I was telling you where. I'm not going to sit here and say this is where it hasn't gone wrong. I'm not going to do that because Dan Aziz, absolutely. I mean, but Dan Aziz is so talented. You know, the worst manager in the world could probably build Dan Aziz because he's so good. But yeah, I'm not going to go into. I'm not going to discuss MTK. What I would say is they're good at what they do.
And so I think my point was actually that you've got these two competing ideologies. So if you don't get picked up by a big TV promoter, Frank or Eddie, you then have that choice of do I go with MTK, where it is kind of sink or swim, but if I back my talent, I'll get on TV, or do I go with a small hall route where it's a bit more considered, but I might take longer to make it on TV. In fact, I might never make it on TV.
You should go with Steve Goodwin at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get into. I don't want to get into the reasons why. I don't want to do that because I just concentrate on what we do. We build the champions. We do get fighters onto TV. We do it. If they're not good enough, then they don't make it. But we give them every chance. There's plenty of fighters that don't make it through because I look at it and think that wasn't a really smart fight to take. And I'm not talking about anybody in general. What we try to do, if they've got the talent, is I believe that every single fighter that we've got has the optimum chance to get there, and they will get there, and they do get there in the end. And you know, at the end of the day, when we're talking about TV, I don't know what you're classing as TV. If you're classing ESPN Plus as TV, TV it's where they're doing the golden contract. Yes, that's TV because sponsors will get involved with that, and I think that's very important. What they've done, that golden contract, is fantastic. It's a brilliant concept, but when you've got the money to do something, you can do it. If I became a multi-millionaire overnight, I'm sure I could improve the product tenfold.
And I think, and this is the point that when me and Martin speak a lot, I always say that.
What I'm talking about, that's the end product of the show as opposed to the management of the fighter's career. They are two totally different things. I don't class myself as a promoter. I class myself as a manager that is involved with doing shows. Not a promoter.
So this comes back to one of the discussions we had earlier in the podcast before you joined. If you're a young prospect, what you're really looking for is, and it frustrates me because everyone is in a rush to get there, maybe sometimes before they're ready. But it is that, it's that, right, look, I'm knocking people out in sparring, I'm knocking people out in the amateurs, get me to a British title.
Yeah.
And MTK is saying, okay, here are your steps. If you can overcome all these steps, that's your British title shot. And so from what I'm gathering, what you're saying is sometimes you've got to pull someone back and go, no, build your craft, make it sustainable, then we'll push you through.
Because when we get there, it's not good enough, Terry, for a fighter. You're giving up your career as an amateur. You're giving up your career as a pro. If my thing is this. There's no point being a British champion if you should be a European champion. There's no point being an English champion if you should be a British champion. You've got to take those fighters to higher levels than their ability allows them to do. Because otherwise they might go in, get one payday, get beaten up, then they become a glorified journeyman. I'll just give you one example, Oscar, who's just become a glorified stepping stone, who was supposed to be a big prospect at one point. He goes into big fights and loses. You know, for me, that's not what I'm about. I'm about trying to create the opportunity so that when they get there, they can become stars and make life-changing money. But I can only do that if I've got the talent that I'm managing to do that. But I don't think that I've ever, I think this is fair, had one boxer who has never reached their potential under me. Wadi Camacho, you could argue, overachieved when he was dead in the water. Frank Buglioni, British champion with that many defences. I know you weren't a fan anyway, but when you look at it...
No, wait. No. We got to stop there for a second. No, that's not fair. No, that's not fair. That's not fair. That's not fair. That's not fair.
Don't accuse him of slander, Terry. For God's sake.
I just said with Frank, I just said with Frank, the belts are being protected here. And I was uncomfortable with that.
No, but listen, whatever it was, when you look back in history and somebody says, this is what happened with Frank Buglioni and this is what he did, a lot of people may say that was very good management. And that's my job. My job isn't to put Frank Buglioni in the hardest British title fight that I can possibly put him in. It's a job to maximise the money he earns and to give him relatively the easiest fights he can with the biggest potential to go further. Now, with Frank, for example, I wanted to vacate the British title rather than fight Gallagher fight Callum Johnson.
You wanted him to fight Ward, right?
We could have got a world title eliminator against somebody from Mexico or Argentina, and he'd probably have won that.
Steve, couldn't you have fought Andre Ward, to be fair?
Yes, we had the Andre Ward fight offered.
And so this is good because I can almost revisit my New Age boxing podcast days. I love this, man. It's catharsis for me.
This is like the greatest hit.
No, well, it is. This is what the fans wanted, right? They were just like, how are Terry and Steve not on the same podcast? But issue with Frank was
to be realised.
No, so the issue with Frank was the belts were held hostage, and I think we all knew that as soon as Frank met someone, even at British level, who knew what they were doing, he was in trouble. And I have nothing against Frank. I'm just the guy that says, when you got a British title, let's just represent that belt right, because it's about a lineage. You want to know that the people that have won this British title have won it against good people and have defended against good people. And I'll call out all the guys who've had soft defenses.
Well, why is the British title exclusive of any other title? There's plenty of titles that get...
The job is really simply, right, to make the boxer as much money as you can for them without ripping them off and charging them too much, giving them good guidance, good advice, and maximising their career earnings and maximising what they can win. I'm not there when I manage a fighter to make a good fight that the public particularly want. My duty is to that fighter to get him the most money for the least risk.
Steve, are you allowed to say on here what money you took off Frank for those fights?
No, but it wasn't very much. No, I can't say that. But you know what it is, Martin, you know.
No, I know what it was, but I wasn't sure whether you were allowed to.
No, I don't want to say that because, but you know it was really fair.
More than that.
You know, I could if anyone wants me to.
No, but let's not do that because it's very fair. You don't know, Terry, but it's very fair.
No, I do. You know, you know, people trusted me for a bit. They told me, but I also respect your confidentiality.
I like Frank. He's a very honourable man, and I was glad to be a part of his career, and that was it. But yeah, so going back to it, it's about Wadi Camacho would never have resurrected his career as he had have done without careful matching.
No. But so now I'm going to step away from being standard Terry podcast guy to just being a fan and going. Now that you put that out in the public, at least now the public understand the considerations. Now they can say, well, okay, I'm never going to get the fights that I feel I deserve unless they're mandated, because a manager's job is to, maximize income, minimize risk. And, I think we all understand that. But we then can't now criticize fans when they go, this fight's bullshit, that card's bullshit, because we just say, well,
now, can I say where the difference is? Now, there is a difference between what I do and what you do on Matchroom. I don't like to see the guys on Matchroom fighting the Mexican guy that's going over in a round or two. That's ridiculous. We're talking about competitive fights, but not necessarily putting fighters in wars all the time. It's just being smart and actually looking at, what are you looking at for the fighter? Right, I'm really looking after his best interest. What do I want him to have? What makes the most sense for him? It's not about what product might... Look, we put on good small hall fights at the top of the bill. The rest of them are building. But when my fighter wants to move on and I'm trying to get him to British level, it's about being as smart as I can and getting him as much money as I can. But I'm not looking at the model thinking, oh, I've got a contract here with blah, blah TV. I just want to put the fight on. That's all it's about. I'm not really that fussed who wins. It's about just building a product. Now, that's what we're about. It's trying to say, well, we want to take the fighters above and beyond what their talent should allow them to do. And if I do that and maximise the money, I've done a good job.
So can I ask a question? No, can I ask a question quickly? So we take a Wadi Camacho, top level amateur, represented this country numerous times.
Yeah.
How can we say him being Commonwealth champion's overachieving? In fact, you know what? If I can just say something, I'd look back at his career and go, how the hell has he not achieved more when guys like Stephen Simmons did more, guys like Shane McPhilbin did more? You know, and I'm not saying this is against you.
You can blame the managers that had him at the height of his powers. When I got him, it was on the back of 3 losses and his career was in tatters. So, yes, I totally agree, but by the time I got him, he wasn't the same fighter that he was in his heyday. I got him at the end. Right at the end, when he was not the same fighter anymore. Because I got him on the back when everybody had told him to retire. He'd had 3 losses. He'd lost to Simmons. He'd been stopped by Craig Kennedy twice, and his career was dead in the water. I resurrected a fighter that had gone totally AWOL and got him and resurrected some of the talent that he had, but I didn't have him in his heyday. If he'd been managed well in his heyday, my God, I could have done wonders with him.
Well, no. Did you resurrect him, or did you move him away from the landmines?
Did I resurrect him? Well, I think you're resurrecting somebody where everybody told him to retire and he was finished. So that's a resurrection. You then had to get, with Wadi, you had to get into him as a manager. He's my friend now, Wadi, and you had to become his friend because I liked him. You had to get his trust. He had to listen to where I thought he should go and be trained in the end. He had to listen to everything. You had to motivate him. You had to be his friend. You had to listen to him. You be his, whatever it was I had to do. And that was all part of the rejuvenation of him, was actually being that with him and being close to him and helping him. And that's what I did with Wadi. And he's still my friend today. He's finished now, obviously, but he's still my friend today.
Because I remember when I can't remember where I was criticising Hearn, and I said, Wadi Camacho was one of Eddie Hearn's day one guys, and he never seemed to look after him once he got to a certain level. And that always upset me because Wadi was there. If you look at the Hearn cards from, I think it's like 2013, 2014, 2012, Wadi's there. And then you're like, well, Eddie, you've looked after everyone else. You've thrown everyone else a bone, but you kind of left Wadi Camacho to just drift away, which always upset me because, number one, I like Wadi. I think he's one of the characters in the sport.
And I will tell you off air what happened, but I'm not going to say it on air.
Okay, no. Well, you know, we're due a beer, so we can do that.
100%. But there's a big story to that Wadi Camacho thing. Yeah.
Steve, can I ask you a question that you're more than welcome not to answer?
Go on.
And I probably know the answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway. In terms of when you have a fighter with a bigger promoter and you see them doing interviews where they start talking about the fighter's future and fights they may or may not take, as a manager, does that frustrate / piss you off?
Yes. Totally. Because it's got nothing to do with them.
And it builds a false expectation as to what's possibly going to happen.
Because what happens is, I said this to Dion Juma, and I can say this, right? Eddie Hearn doesn't want Dion Juma, has no interest in him whatsoever, right?
I was never going to bring this up.
Doesn't want him to be on the A side, doesn't want him really to be on the B side. I don't know why. I don't know why. But I said to Dion, once he wins the British title, he'll want to be his best friend. Right? And then Eddie will talk as if he's guiding Dion Juma's career if he becomes the champion. Right? That's what's going to happen. But it's bullshit. I'm guiding Dion Juma's career. I'm doing it. It's just that's how it works. Frank does the same thing, but you talk as if you're sitting there and thinking, that is really not happening. No, that's not what we're going to do. And blah, blah, blah. But maybe it does piss me off. Because you just think, but it's part of what happens.
The reference points I was thinking of were back to when Hearn was thinking of, like, Buglioni versus Kovalev, and he would talk about that potential fight.
I know. Do you remember that?
And I knew that wasn't going to happen because I've spoken with you. And yet I watched an IFL interview where he was talking about the potential of it happening.
And it was never happening.
No, I know it wasn't.
Years. Not for the money that was on offer anyway.
And yet we were listening to IFL interviews at the time whereby it was potentially happening, and I knew it wasn't going to.
Yeah, so what we do is don't listen to it.
When promoters do that, is that to try and wrestle some control, or is it just to look like they're in control?
You need to ask them, because God knows what. At the end of the day, we're promoted by the promoter, but in all the contracts that I have, which I don't know whether that's the same with all managers, and maybe that's why I piss off some people, is I insist on the ultimate control of the fight. So I do not sign away the right to any promoter to tell us who we're fighting. I always have a veto.
Steve, we talked quite a lot on this, the front end of this pod, about what this lockdown, this coronavirus is going to do to the future of boxing. We briefly touched on it at the beginning of when you came on. But if you had to predict what's going to happen to the sport of boxing on the small and the sort of big hall scene, if you like, the major side of things, what do you think is going to happen?
Well, the first thing is, it depends on, well, also for me, I'm in lockdown, for God knows how long I'm going to be in lockdown, but it depends on whether there is a medical situation that will be able to save people from the coronavirus. So if they can bring medicine out, and I know there's talk of, in various areas, they've got this drug at the moment they're looking at, if they can bring that out quite quickly and within the 3 months that Boris Johnson seems to be talking about today, then the damage won't be that bad. It'll be bad, but not that bad. So it'll probably take 6-7 months to get back. If, however, there is no virus, there is no medical science, and we're just playing the numbers game of trying to use the summer to play down the virus, and the virus is going to come back in October, November, I can see small hall boxing being out for over a year. Nobody will be able to buy a ticket. They won't have the money. They'll have the people scared, and those that do go out are not going to have the money because firms still won't be trading properly. So I think it all depends on what happens with the medical situation and the virus. But if we don't get a cure for 12 to 18 months, then small hall boxing is in real trouble.
Wow. I think it's a depressing thought, isn't it?
I described it, Steve, as every other sport, like football, has a base salary.
Yeah.
Whereas boxing doesn't have anything like that.
No.
Because, like, in football, you would end up with the Premier League would get X amount from Sky, X amount from BT. There's nothing like that for you, is there?
No. I spoke to a lot of other promoters and managers, people like Errol Johnson, who takes his full-time income out of boxing, and he just said this will ruin him.
Yeah.
He don't think he'll recover. And a lot of others would as well, because there's a lot of people in boxing who are going to exit boxing if this doesn't get resolved quickly. And because I can't see, I know people class me. I know I have a disagreement with Jamie Spate on this because he thinks this is so over dramatic, but it's not. The people don't understand the economic implications of what the government's having to do with throwing money at small businesses, giving money, giving mortgage holidays, giving this. This money's all got to be paid back. And people are going to be without jobs. And when, for example, when they go back to work, they're going to be doing this with debt and owing money. They're not going to be shelving out loads of money for small ball boxing. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So promoters, if they want to stage fights, are going to do it half-empty halls. Who's going to do that? Boxers aren't going to sell the required amount of tickets to cover it. The board are not going to give any reduction on their fees, so they'll be chasing their fees. They'll probably put them up. So the squeeze will be too great, and the margins as they stand at the moment are so narrow, and that's now.
Well,
that's a good thing. Well, hold on, no, that's a good thing, right? Because, and let me choose my words carefully, because I know people are going to listen to this and take a feeling.
Why wait and have it a lifetime?
No, there's a lot of detritus that you see on small hall cards, and I speak as someone that's traveled across the country. There are guys that shouldn't be doing this because it's just not worth it. And maybe the tougher economic climate will say, well, actually, we need to revisit how we do this. And you ask your question, in a tightened economy where people have less money, how do we draw people in? And let me not talk about who deserves to box and who doesn't deserve to box. It's not my place. But it will force promoters, the custodians of the product, to ask this question: what can I put together that will get the fans to come through the doors? And I think it should force a raising of the level. And that's what I'd like to see.
Can I tell you something, Terry, about small law boxing? I'll have to go through this with you in more detail. And this is God's honest truth, this, right? Martin will tell you this. I can put the worst show on in the world, right, with a bunch of 4-rounders against journeymen, right? And I will sell 4 times the tickets to the general public on that show than I would do if I put on 2 English titles and a Southern Area title and 50-50 fights.
I can confirm that.
Because of the date. Right?
In March.
Yeah, well, yeah, we've got them all booked up anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So we've got, we basically, and there's other dates as well, you sell on the date, not on the fight. I can put the best card out, right? And it doesn't, and the amount of sales for that card will be worse than an absolute shite card that I wouldn't even get out of bed.
Okay, no. So that's a really interesting point.
What I'm trying to say is, it's about it. So I understand in principle, but if you actually go and look at all the numbers that we do in the market we do, it tells a totally different story. Because if I put it on the wrong part where people don't go, there's certain times of year people go more than they go others, it doesn't sell. So therefore, that is not what solves that is not what makes the product go. Now, if I tell you, for example, in March, the show that got aborted, which was the Udofia against Brennan, was Wahomey against Liam Dillon, had Sean Robinson, Adrian Martin, really good 50-50 fights, had 2 other 50, so we had 5 50-50 fights on. Well, I don't think Lyra's was 50-50, but English title fights on. And we had the 7th of March, 2 weeks before, that had a pile of 4 and 6 rounders on it. The 7th of March oversold the 21st of March by 3-1.
And that's purely because of the day.
Purely because of the day.
But wait, no. We need. Here's me being the data analyst that I pretend that I am. It depends, right? You could have an approach that says, look, based on how we currently look at things, this is what works, this is what doesn't work. But there's always a question that says, are we looking at the right things? Are we looking at the right triggers? Are we looking at the right responses? I don't know the right answer to that, Steve. But what I am saying is...
The answer is I've got data, Trevi, I've got data going back 10 years, and that's what I do, right? So the boxing side of things about who throws the best left hook, who's the most talented, right? I bow to your better judgment. Because you are an experienced man, you know boxers, you know boxing. Whilst I think I'm a fair judge, you're an excellent judge. In terms of data, analysts, financial stuff, I'm an expert.
You need to take a knee there. You need to take a knee there.
No, no. Wait, no.
So I know in terms of I know in terms of what we've done to sell something, and I find it crazy because I think logically that we should put on better cards and we will sell more tickets to the public. But when you reach the household names like AJ, it's a totally different angle. When you're dealing with people that are not household names, it doesn't necessarily work. Now, for example, when Joe Gallagher put on Sam Hyde against Dion Juma, that's a cracking fight in Manchester, right? 450 people was in the arena.
Wow.
450 people. Why was it? I'll tell you why there was 400. Do you want to know why there was 450 people in the arena?
Because it was the 10th of the month or something, wasn't it?
No, I know. 19th of January. Doesn't sell.
No. So those bits I agree with, but what I'm saying is, and there are places where I'll bow to experts. So if you have data on ticket sales, I'll always bow to that.
I've got data to go back 10 years of every single show that's ever, done. So yeah.
Yeah, no.
I tell you, I do agree with you. I do agree with you in principle, but when it comes back, it's all about. Honestly, it's all about. I've got a kid called Amar Kiani, right? It's a good ticket seller. He's actually really talented as well, which is handy.
Amar.
Yeah, he's a good lad. But he will fill up. He will do hundreds of tickets, right? Because he's very popular. Blah blah blah. Then you've got another kid who could be in the best fight ever. And I'm talking about southern areas in a 51st ever title fight. He'd probably do 40 tickets. And nobody would buy yet the fight might be fantastic.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question, right? And what we've done in this conversation, I think, Steve, is at various points you've jumped between manager and promoter, which is fine because...
I'm talking about two different angles, yeah.
Yeah. So you've jumped between... As a manager, the ticket seller's cool up until a certain point. So let me choose my words carefully. So like a Florian Marku, and I know you worked with him in the past. I don't know if you currently do.
Yeah.
But Florian Marku, great ticket seller, but it's a ceiling to what he can achieve in boxing, right?
Agreed.
But as a manager, what you're looking for is the guy that's got limitless headroom where you're like a Linus Adofia. For me, Linus is the guy I look at and I go, I'd put him in a British title fight at some point in the next 12 to 18 months.
Totally agree.
So when we're having this conversation, I know you're talking about ticket sellers making things profitable, and as a promoter, that's what you care about. But as a manager, you're looking at who can I take to those places where this is where it gets memorable, where you're doing big pay-per-view shows. I
totally agree. The only thing is, to get to that memorable place, they've got to be a ticket seller to get there. You can't take... take your boxer, the one that you brought to me, John Palata, right?
God, are we going to do this?
No, because I like John, but he had plenty of talent, right? We accept that. He had plenty of talent, struggled like mad to sell a ticket. He really struggled. So, and didn't, in my opinion, in the end, have the right, it just all went wrong for him in terms of the setup. But the whole thing was, sometimes the talented kids just don't get there. But Linus was easier to do because he would just roll along, sell his tickets, didn't feel financial pressure, had sponsorship. He would make money. He would make good money every time he had a fight. We could build him without any pressure. He knew what he was doing. He was happy with what he was earning. It made the whole job smoother. So he played a major part in that as well.
Can I just touch on the John thing? Because I think the listenership, this is the bit they've waited for. Here's the thing I have with John, and bear in mind I've known John since 2014. No, I've known John since 2012.
I know, you're friends with him, you're close to him, yeah, I know, you're close.
John's like a young brother to me. So for me, the issue with John was John went to a trainer who I really respect as a man, but tried to turn John into someone that he's not. Right. And so before we had gone to, let's see how I'm going to mention names, it's that sort of podcast. Before he'd gone to Don... Before John had gone to Don, John and I had spoken. I said, John, the next 3 years will be you being John Plata, the athlete. But beyond that, you're going to be John, the animal. Right? I don't know who's dropped off.
Andy.
Okay, cool. Now I'm still recording, so mine will still go out.
You got the whole exclusive.
So from my perspective, and John and I talked about this, there's going to be a first half of your career and a second half of your career. And that's what we shared with John before John signed. And I was always concerned when I saw certain things happening in that gym where I was like, this isn't what we need to be doing for John to win. And John got away with it because he was experienced and he had amateur bouts. But what happened was, and I saw this in the, the Ultimate Boxer. Eventually, he met someone where they hadn't prepared him for this sort of, look, at the lower level, sometimes you just got to bang out. Yeah, you got to stand in the middle of the ring.
He had left Don Charles by this point.
Absolutely, but there was still that legacy kind of, the hangover from that, because John and I would talk, and I was like, mate, we need to get back to seek and destroy. Now, I don't know if we're going to get back to that, but psychologically, that was a challenge. So when people say John underperformed, look, I accept that, this is one of the things I had to learn in 2019. Sometimes the trainers you think are special aren't necessarily right for the guys that you want to work with. And I always felt for John, because I've seen John mince people in sparring. When you give him that trigger to just smash into people, he's done it. So it was disappointing. And I know people say that, but
because when you brought him to me, I was expecting to see something really, really special. And John Pilata will tell you that his one thing with me was he was saying to me, you don't rate me. I was just being honest with him that things weren't right, okay, because he wasn't performing like I expected him to perform. But he took that I didn't rate him. I said, I'm not rating you, it's just you're not performing.
So, okay, so let's touch on that, because now I always go back to the show we did on December 2nd, where I roasted everyone on the card of December 1st. I did. John, Enel, Daniel Mendez, everyone on there. And my exact words were, Martin, if you're on the line, feel free to correct me. I said, Steve Goodwin's given everyone a platform here to show what they're capable of, and they haven't delivered. And somehow between that and your conversation with John P. and Don, it turned into Terry said John's not good enough. And then what happened after that was Don switched the phone off, like the comms turned off. And I was like, I haven't said anything in public that I hadn't said in private.
You never said that. I was the one, if you ask John, I never said that to John. Ask John when you speak to him, if he used to say to me, you don't rate me. I was saying it for me. I never mentioned your name to him. But John came up to my office and we had a discussion, and I like him. But we both agreed to disagree. I said as you are at the moment, you're not going anywhere. And I was being honest. And I'm always going to be honest. I'm not going to blow smoke up boxers' arses. But on the other hand, if they perform well, I will tell them that I think they're going to be great. But if they're not performing, I say to them, what's going wrong? Why are you not performing? What needs to change? That was it. But he's an example of somebody that should have done so well. Now, under me, he didn't lose, right? So he was winning because I was matching him accordingly. But things weren't. He wasn't the fighter that you would have expected him to be.
Well, and no, listen, I agree with you, because I'd be sat there going, look, when he worked with me, he understood the core principles. 1, heavyweights own the middle of the ring. 2, heavyweights seek and destroy. And then 3, under pressure, that's when you use your skills. But before that, you entertain the fans. And look, and I hate throwing people under the bus, but he went into other camps, and all these other camps, what they see is, and this is that kind of trainer to trainer conversation. When you see an athletic heavyweight, you almost try and impose your fantasies on how a heavyweight should box, instead of thinking, actually, how does this guy want to fight? And John's a guy that just wants to get in there, work, and then get you with that counter left hook, wobble you, and take you out. And that's why he did really well when he sparred with David Haye, because he was always waiting for David to throw that right hand, and he was always able to time him with that left hook that came over and work him, which is what Bellew ended up doing in that fight. And you remember, you and I had that conversation the same day. I said, you make yourself a few million here, Steve. No, so and so when Martin said to me, Terry, why are you upset with Steve? I was like, look, if John's ringing me up saying Steve Goodwin said Terry said you were shit, I'm like, why didn't Steve ring me first before we had that conversation?
Can I say, Terry, I didn't say that. I never, ever said that to John Palasa. Ever. And if John's listening, he can ring me tomorrow. I never said that. I said, I did say to him, and Kevin was in the office at the same time, he said to me, you don't rate me, you've never rated me.
That probably becomes an offline conversation.
Yeah, exactly. That's not for now. But
that's the beer chat.
Yeah. So, no, but again, I'm being honest. I didn't rate John when he was boxing for me. I didn't. Let's be honest. I didn't rate him. And he knows I didn't, because I told him. I said, I rate you, but you're not performing.
Yeah, no, and there's no dispute here. Look, I'm the toughest critic on the guys that I know, where I say, listen, we should be doing better because we know better. And let me give you an example, right? That night with John, December 1st, I literally got up. I said to John, that wasn't what I wanted to see. That's not good enough. I don't know why at the moment, but I need to find out why that wasn't good enough. But we're going to talk tomorrow. John and I rang John about 10 o'clock Sunday. And I said to him, listen, round 1, you attacked 16 times a round. Round 2, you attacked 18 times a round. Round 3, I think he had dropped off by that point. And so I'm saying to John, look, elite level heavyweights are attacking 27 to 35 times a round. So what were you doing in that fight? And, and I said to him, this is where the gap is, right? Don't worry about what we do with the 35 attacks. That's our job as trainers to figure out. Your job is to build your capacity to do that every fight, every round. And John and I talked about that. And then I came on the podcast and I said, look, here's what I thought. I spoke to John. Here's what I thought the deficiencies were. Here's where the gap is. Here's how we're going to get there. And then when he fought with Frank and he fought the first guy, and the guy was a bit of a soup can, but the numbers made sense. He was in the 30s in terms of attacks.
Hello.
I'm still here. Am I still here?
Terry.
I lost Terry. Okay.
Something about
Are you doing it on a group? Are you weren't together then?
No, we're all in isolation.
How are you? All of you? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right, we haven't got Andy, have we?
Gentlemen, we've been going for an hour now.
Mate, we've been going for 3 hours.
Yeah.
No, I get that, but like with Steve, and Steve is a man who is self-isolating and probably needs to go and rest up.
No, wait. So no. Where did I drop off at?
You dropped off at the stuff about the thing.
The thing? Okay, thanks.
No, it was about, it was at the point where John was in Ultimate Fighter and you weren't happy about how he performed.
I wasn't happy for so and
1st of December. Yeah, he was talking about 1st of December when he fought that foreign kid. Was it Lukaku?
On the Frank show.
I'm going to set a 5-minute timer on this, as I do with my kids.
Okay.
So
all right.
Terry, you've got.
I'll blitz it.
4 minutes. 4 minutes.
All right, stop talking then. Look, with me and John, I always talk with John about this, right? Get your level of work up and we'll figure out what punches you want to throw in that level of work. And I think sometimes he gets with trainers that fall in love with him being athletic, strong, fit, this, that, and the other, and they try and recreate him as a boxer. And you're like, no, don't do that, right? Let's just solve problems with the skill set that we currently have, and let's enhance that. And I think that's where he fell over in The Ultimate Boxer, where he joined a trainer who tried to turn him into this long-range back foot boxer, which isn't what John needs to be. John needs to be in the middle of the ring. And that counter left hook is a game changer because he's damn strong and he's damn powerful. And so my frustration has always been that he gets a bad press, but I just think we don't have enough trainers in Britain that understand what athletic boxers need. And I don't think he's the only one that's suffering from that.
No, because if you look at it in logical terms, what he achieved as an amateur, and when I say what he achieved as a pro, he beat Chris Healy by a couple of rounds, he dropped a round to Phil Williams. You know, we're talking about, you don't expect that from somebody of that amateur pedigree. You don't.
I don't. Yeah, damn right I don't.
Yeah. You don't expect that. And it's a shame. I don't know whether he's finished now or whether he's carrying on, but...
No, he'll carry on.
You know,
he'll carry on. We speak once a week. And it's...
he's a nice guy. I hope he turns it around. I hope he turns it around.
Right, I'm going to draw a line under it there.
Listen, guys, good to speak with you all.
Steve, I wish you all the best. I'm not going to see you for Ring Talk this week.
No,
you're...
I'm locked down for probably 3 months, I think. Something like that.
Yeah. This is Ring Talk.
You let me know. You let me know when you're good.
I will do. Terry, good to speak to you, my friend.
As always, man, we need to do beers, man. Stop ducking me.
Yeah,
you and Andy need to stop ducking me.
As soon as I'm out of isolation, we'll definitely catch up for a beer.
Now, make sure.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
All right,
we'll do a group chat over a beer.
Yeah, sounds like a good plan. Guys, take care.
All right, take care.
Take care, Steve.
All right.
Good man. Bye.
Terry.
Mate. Oh, Jesus.
Wow, what a session.
Yeah, fucking hell. Like, this is why we always overran.
I'll leave you to put this out.
All right, then, yeah. Yeah, I should be able to do that.
Andy dropped off about half an hour ago because he had other commitments. But
no worries. All right, mate, you take care. I'll speak to you soon.
The last half hour is your exclusive. I love you, man. You take care.
You too, man. Take care.
You and your loved ones.
Speak to you soon, all right?
Take care.
All right, mate.
Look
Bye.
after your loved ones, yeah?
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.